insight on what we've been talking about from our last segment. So, old school, from what we were talking about on our last segment, we were talking about people at the White House. We were talking about people in living with your grown, living with your parents. We were talking about relationships. We were talking about marriages. So something
Right,
came
right.
across, something was told to me that came across, I guess, from one of the viewers. They felt like I had said that I got married when I was 22 years old. That was my first marriage, 22 years old. And I guess a lot of people felt like I shouldn't have said that because that perturbs other young people from getting married. Tell me what you really think about that, because you're a little seasoned than me, been married a little longer than me. What would you say about that?
Well, basically, I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with getting married, when you're ready to get married. And when I say
Right,
that, I mean, it's like, what's the alternative? I mean,
right,
sleeping around with a bunch of people and,
right,
contracting all of these diseases and having all of these kids by
right,
all of these different people.
right,
Whereas, you know what I mean, you can go ahead and get married and get your family started when you're ready to get your family started.
right,
I mean, and if that's not what you want to do, well, you're welcome to do that too. So it's not like I'm trying to, tell anybody, exactly what they should do. But
right, right.
I've been married now 35 years, and it's challenging. I'm not
Wow,
gonna lie to you, but at the same time, it has a lot of rewards. I mean, I've
wow.
got 4 children, and
Okay.
they're not children anymore. The youngest one that I have is 18 years old, and he ain't no kid no more. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I
So
mean, you can
yeah.
actually see your family blossom. You can see how you come from being two people and then turning into an actual family.
Right, right. That's true. So, for me, even though I'm like this, and that's what I say on this show all the time to everybody that's watching, it is just our opinions. This is how we feel about our lives. This is
Right,
what went on in our lives. I wasn't, well, I'm not going to apologize for what I said because that's my opinion on how I feel being young and being married, so
hmm
a lot of people tend to take talk shows and the online radio shows, and they feel like, well, you can't say this or you can't say that, but it's your opinion. It's things that you see in life, things you go through in life, and if you can't have your opinion, it's not going to work. I wouldn't base my situation on somebody else, and I wouldn't want nobody else to take my situation as their own. But
right,
you know how when you do stuff, people feel some type of way. They feel like,
right.
well, you shouldn't say this, or you shouldn't say that, or you shouldn't say that's why we're different. So,
hmm
I felt like I was like, okay, me saying that should not have offended anybody. It shouldn't have burdened anybody. But
Well,
that's just me.
well. I'm gonna be honest with you. The thing is that people um, these days, they are very, very opinionated. I guess we always have been as people.
Right.
But the thing is that they want you to think the way that they want you to think,
Right. Right. And
and that's never gonna fly with me.
right.
Uh, I'm gonna always say what it is that I think is that works for me
Right.
and what I feel is right. And to me,
Right.
just because you do it and because everybody else is doing it, don't make it right to me. It doesn't make it um, the rule.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
Because if that's the case, everybody is being brainwashed and they're just doing what it is that everybody else is doing because they say that it's cool.
Exactly. 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 So
They call
another
me
yeah.
old school. Not that I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's
but
okay.
the
We
thing
need
is
that.
that when you start getting to that subject, I mean, I seriously am old school because my parents used to ask me, well, if everybody jumped off the bridge, would you jump off of it too?
Yeah.
And to me, that basically falls in the same line of, you know what I mean? Since they don't feel like you should be married at this age or,
Right.
blah, 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 whatever, because that's
Right.
what everybody's doing. Don't make it something that I want to do.
Right. Right. Because I know for me, it's just different for me. So I didn't dwell into it too much. I'm like, it's different for me. Everybody, you go through stuff that makes you stronger when you get into the next step. So
Mhm.
it is what it is on that segment of that. But this segment, I had a lot of people wanted to talk to me about uh mental. illnesses or mental health or stuff like that.
Right.
So for me, my main thing is with mental health. First thing I always tell people, when you're dealing with people with mental health, I always think the police should be trained on people with mental health.
Most definitely. Most
They really,
definitely.
really need to be trained, because look at the young man that had the mental health issues and they shot him 28
Oh
times.
man,
That's ridiculous.
you said the man. They've been doing that for years. You
Yes.
know.
Right.
I mean, the thing is that um, they use a lot of these people brandishing a weapon, and then they always make it seem as if the weapon is something that's causing some type of danger to their lives. I mean, you
Exactly.
standing out here with all of these guns, and somebody come out of here with a knife or with a rolling pin or with something that's not a firearm
Hmm.
and being killed by the police. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. I
Right.
think that the training should have been where, you can disable a person, even if you felt, that, hey, wait a minute, this person right here could do something to somebody with this particular knife or this weapon or this rake or this shovel or whatever it is that they have.
Exactly.
They could shoot him in the toe, shoot him in the foot, shoot him in
Yeah.
the thigh. I mean, why are they shooting people in the heart? Why are they shooting to kill these people?
Well, it's only minorities that they're shooting and killing, because
Exactly.
white people, that don't go like that. That
Exactly.
don't happen like that. So, and that's something I had on our last show when we were talking about the White House stuff. It
Hmm.
just doesn't go the same way for minorities
Mm-mm.
that it does for white people.
Not at all.
They are privileged, and people say, "Oh, that's not right to say." They are privileged. They are privileged.
Well,
You
most
know,
definitely, most definitely. I mean, that to me, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I say, it's just something that I don't see in this world that we're living in ever
Mm,
changing. And the
no,
reason being is because of the simple fact that, well, you have the powers that be, and they want to always be powerful.
yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, take a look at the whole Joe Biden situation as far as the flack and the pushback that he's getting because he's talking about doing things like using clean energy.
Hmm.
Well, the old school people that been using oil and they made all of this money with that fossil fuel, they ain't trying
Hmm.
to hear that.
Right.
And that's the same way that it is with white folks when we
Hmm.
start talking about equalities and the equal treatment or whatever. They
Right.
not fixing to get at them people and shoot them people because they doing something silly, because that might be President Trump's nephew or something.
Exactly, exactly. And I think what it is, the big misconception for me with the Biden thing, I feel like this. I think it's not he's getting a whole lot of flack. I think what it is that they're just mad because this is a man that stepped in to help poor folks. That's what it is.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's the whole problem. It's just that this man is in office. Now he's really gonna put the poor people where they need to be, where they should have been a long time ago. So
Right.
I think
Well,
that's what it is.
yeah. Well, my thing is that you got a lot of Trump supporters that's still out there, and
Yeah.
they feel like he got cheated out of this whole thing. I'm not even going to talk like I'm a scholar on politics because I'm definitely not.
Me neither. Me
But I
neither.
mean, just from sitting here on the outside looking in, though,
Right. Right.
I can definitely tell you that, you know, it's not always going to be an easy transition when you're going
Mhm.
from one form of power to the next, or should I say, it's supposed to be smoothly transitioning, especially when you got a person with an ego like Donald Trump has.
Exactly.
He's not going to
Exactly.
take that stuff. He takes that personal.
Yeah.
And you know, really, to be honest with you, like I said, I'm 58 years old, so
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of presidents come and go, and
Right. Right.
it's none of them that solved all the problems, in my opinion. It's just a man. It's a guy. I remember when
Exactly.
even Obama was in office,
Yeah.
and they had a tornado, and
Right.
people actually was running up to Obama like, we lost X amount of people, like he's
Yeah.
gonna resurrect them and bring them back to life. I mean, he's a
Right.
man. What else can he do?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, you know, That's why I don't get into politics. I
Me
basically
either.
just look at it like, well, I wait on God's kingdom because, and that's a whole nother topic. But,
Yeah, me
you
neither.
know,
I can't do the politics because for me that turns into a war by itself with people
yeah.
because everybody is not going to agree on certain things. To me, it's just my opinion. To everybody who's
hmm
listening, it's just my opinion. All politics are full. All politicians
Yeah.
are full of BS.
Well, they are. There's a saying that says that power corrupts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, when it comes down to it, we just they say that if you want to see the real person, give him some money. The
Yeah.
more money that they get, then they really become the person that they really are. You know what I mean?
And it is. It's a true statement because I was talking. I forgot who I was talking with, but we were talking about how money changes people,
Right.
and it does. It's like when you get to a certain statue in your life and you have a whole lot of money, you act funny, you
Yeah.
act different, you know. And then you got some that don't act like that, but about that much.
hmm
But you tend to change your way. I don't know because something my husband says all the time. Don't cherish materialistic stuff. It ain't you can't take it with you when you're gone. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So, but you got people who get upset if you touch their clothes or the clothes get wet or just stupid
Right.
stuff.
hmm
You
Well,
know,
those pet peeves and those little, I call them character flaws because, you know what I mean. It's like they get the feeling of, well, I don't need anybody else. I got all my money and this, that, and the other.
right?
Basically, in some way, form, or fashion, you work for me,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
start treating people any kind of way.
That's crazy.
But that my parents always told me that uh, be good to everybody because
Yeah.
them same people that you see on the way up is the ones that you're gonna see on the way down.
I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. It's crazy. But as far as like the mental illness part, I know for me, the mental health and mental illness, because like I said, a lot of people was asking me that and wanting to know about
Mhm.
that. I only know a little bit.
Right.
Um, Even my daughter asked me to talk about it a little bit because my daughter deals with that too. But I say this, like I said, the main thing when it comes to people who have mental illness or mental health, learn about it,
Mm.
research what they're going through, learn
Right.
about it. For me, I had to learn, I had to
hmm
learn a whole lot about it, and it's a lot of different mental illnesses. You
Oh,
don't.
most definitely.
It doesn't. It
As a
doesn't
matter of
mean.
fact,
Hmm.
I didn't mean to cut you off,
No, go ahead.
but there is you are so right. There's a wide range of conditions that affect the mood and the thinking
Right.
and the behavior of people.
Right.
I was just looking here, and it was saying that you got clinical depression, anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder, dementia,
Hmm.
attention deficit hyperactivity disorder,
Right.
schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, autism,
Right.
post traumatic stress. Which
Right.
all black people got that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. And so that's what people need to understand. When you have that, it does not mean you're crazy. It does not mean the person is crazy.
No,
And sometimes mental health can be genetic.
right?
It could be in your
Yes.
DNA. You know what I'm saying? It,
hmm
it, it really can. Like for me, I don't have a problem saying like for me, I got diagnosed with being bipolar years ago.
Yeah. hmm
But here's the thing: my mom doesn't have any mental illness. My father doesn't have it. So it doesn't mean that all the time you get it genetically, but it happens.
hmm
When people see me, they're like, "Yeah, bipolar." I'm like, "Yeah," but it's. I always say this: I don't do the medication for it. I
hmm
rather pray about it and work on it myself. Like
hmm
I said in the last segment when we were talking about medication, it has more side effects than what it's supposed to cure.
Yeah, I already know, boy. Your arm fall off when you take an aspirin. But I like that part. I just wanted to kind of clear up something
Yeah,
that I said because I came to a realization that people are listening to what it is that I'm saying here.
Right.
And I did mention that we are, as black folks, all kind of have post traumatic stress.
Right.
I said it in a joking way, but we really, to a certain degree,
Mm-hmm.
have that. And the reason why
Right.
I say that is because the definition is a disorder in which a person has difficulty recovering after experiencing or witnessing a terrifying event.
Yes.
Now, we stood there and watched them put a brother to death on television when they put
Yep.
that's traumatic. That's
That
post
is
traumatic
traumatic.
stress. I mean, how are we supposed to feel safe? I mean, that's definitely going to give us that disorder. And nowadays, brothers, I see a lot of them on YouTube and stuff, and they all have the cameras in their cars and
Mm-hmm.
getting stopped by these cops. And while we were going through all of the
Right.
things we were going through,
Right.
the riots and everything,
Right.
cops were still pulling people over and still, doing them any kind of way, you know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, definitely. That's what I mean by I feel like we all have, at least some hint of post traumatic stress
Yeah.
disorder.
I think, and I think a lot of us do. I really think a lot of us do. Because it depends on what to me, I feel like me personally, it's just my opinion. I think a black male would have it way more than a black female.
Hmm.
I really do. And being a mom of black males, you fear for that.
Well, yeah. To me, being a black male, it's just they they just scared to death of us. They always have been, especially if you have a shred of intelligence and you can actually just see what they're doing or whatever. They fear
Right.
you more than they fear anything, and they would rather lock you up or
Right.
kill you or whatever than
Right.
to deal with you.
Right. And then that's the thing though. All black people are not criminals. All black people are not ignorant. You
No,
know?
not at
It's
all.
just it's just that perceived notion that people have of us without getting to know us. And that kills me though, because I say that a lot. I said it's a shame, how, and it's just my opinion, people. It's just a shame how people of the white race always have so much negativity about black folks, but yet you're trying to get butt injections, lip injections, you try to wear your hair like us. So I'm just lost on that. And me and my me and my daughters were having a conversation, and my youngest daughter was telling me about certain things that are different between white people and black people. And I do let my children express themselves. And one thing I told my daughter, and it's just my opinion again, as I say, because some people get offended when you put your opinion out there.
Hmm.
And I just said that white people of the white race do things like that because number one, they don't have culture. They don't have
Hmm.
a culture. When you look at it, you have black people have culture, Hispanic people have culture, Indian people have culture, Asian people have culture, Japanese people have culture, you know, Pakistani people, Indian people. They have culture. White people don't have a culture.
Well, like I say, as far as the issues of white, black, whatever,
Hmm.
um, I don't know. As far as I try to stay away from the conversation a little bit about whether the white person or any
Yeah,
race
yeah,
in
I get it.
particular, because the thing is that I don't want to be considered as being a racist,
Yeah, and I don't either. I don't want people
and
to
they'll flip that on
perceive
us.
that. Yeah, yeah, because they'll flip that and say, well, Miss Music Info and old school were being racist. No, we're not being racist. We're just speaking our opinion. Well, I'm speaking my opinion on how I see things for me, not
Right.
for nobody else.
Mhm.
Because
Right.
you know how people tend to take it. They take it left
Right.
real quick.
Hmm. Well, one
And
thing
it's not
about
like
it is even when it comes to that though,
that.
and
Hmm.
I'm old school, and like I
Yep.
say, I definitely deal with my put it like this right here. My structure is a
Hmm.
biblical structure. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I say that, um, the period or the nucleus of whatever I'm talking about is always something that's based in the Bible.
Right.
And the reason
Right.
why I do that, I'm gonna tell you why I do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I do that because I find that the Bible is the most reliable and relevant
Yeah.
measuring rod that I can go by. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like a lot of times I watch people, and some of the things that we feel are it has a lot to do with the way that we were treated and the way that
Right.
and so it can easily make us kind of vulnerable to anything that anybody say that's complimentary to blacks. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like,
Right. Right.
and so I don't want to be like that. I want to be
Right.
more or less like a person that still takes it all in,
Mhm.
understanding that
Mhm.
yes, we were mistreated, but my thing is where do we go from here? What do we
True.
do? What do we
True.
do now? And
Right.
so, you know, um, I just feel like, what I think that we need to do is we need to start listening to the word of God because he's our creator.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
when we do that, we start improving.
But that's where that stems from. Because when I was growing up little, that's something that you had to learn. You had to learn about God.
Right.
You had to go to church. You had
Mm.
to do this. And I think, that when they took the Bible from school and they took the Bible from here and and then it just did, it gave people their own perception. But I always tell people, read the Bible for yourself.
Yeah, and that's what I say too. Now, I'm not going to joke with you. That's what it's
Yeah,
about, reading it for yourself, because I understand where a lot of people come from with
right,
not really wanting to go to church. I mean, I can
right,
identify with that. And the reason being is because you got this dude that's standing there. He cleaner than everybody else is. He got more money than everybody else is. He telling you basically you should do this. And then you go around the corner and you see him doing the exact thing that he just told you not to do.
right. See, me and one of the other co-hosts on the girl chat, we were talking about that, and we were talking. And I was telling her, I said, it's so hard now for young people to go to church because when they walk in, they're already criticized when it says in the Bible. They get criticized for
Right.
what they wear to church. They get criticized, but in the Bible it says, come as you are." But
That's right.
it's like the elder, and I'm not being mean or nothing like that, but it's like the older foundation of church doesn't accept the new foundation of church.
Right.
And I guess that's why a lot of young people back off, because you go to church to hear the word. You don't go to church to be judged.
Right.
And
Exactly.
people do that, and that's what turns young people off from church.
Well, another thing too is that when you sit there and you listen to, and I just want you to just observe it.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you really see the preacher with a Bible in his hand? Like a lot of them preach a whole sermon and never pick up the Bible.
right, right,
How
right,
you do that? You know what I mean? Like,
right,
okay, so like you here to teach God's word, right?
right, right,
But you don't have the Bible in your hand.
right.
I hear a lot of opinions and a lot of like we're talking mental health, a
Yeah,
lot of psychoanalyzations that go
yeah,
on in church,
yeah.
but no Bible. I mean, I'm sitting here going, wow, now don't get me wrong. They say things that, well, this is in the Bible and that's in the Bible, but a lot of these youngsters really do read their Bible and they go back and they look and they see that, hey, wait a minute, that was a stretch or that was a twist. That was in the Bible, but it wasn't meant the way that he just shouted at me.
Mhm,
You know what I mean?
mhm. Right, 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 right.
And so now you got all kinds of different little how do you want to say it, little belief systems and little faiths and different things that's coming up and popping up
Right.
because these little guys are actually reading a Bible and uh, you know what I mean, kind of interpreting some of the things that are in there for themselves.
Right, right, right.
you know
Yeah, cause see, for me, when you see pastors, my main thing is when I was growing up, I always had this, cause my dad's dad was a pastor and my uncle
Mm.
was a pastor, so we had that in our life. But my thing was, I've always heard from them, because those were old school pastors, is that you have to be called by God. That's my thing with pastors now. Are you called by God or did you call yourself? It's a big
Right.
difference, because you got some pastors, and like you said, they'll tell you this is what God said, this is this, this is this, this is this, but yet you doing a total opposite of what you just told me God said to do.
Right.
So, and that's what runs young people away. And then, if if a young lady comes to church, they have a problem with a skirt, they have a problem with a shirt. Okay, she coming to serve God just like you are. God said, don't
Mhm.
judge.
Right.
So you doing something that you trying to tell me not to do, but you doing
Mhm.
it. So
Right.
that's why I say a lot of young people fall back. They fall back from church because they're pushed back.
Right. Mhm.
They're pushed back.
And who can say that you really kind of blame them, because it's like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of them that's really looking for truth. I mean, I've seen cases where, a young man will ask a question, and if it's not going along with the doctrine that the preacher was talking or teaching or whatever, he don't want to answer the question.
Mhm.
They walk around and they'll tell them straight up and down that they're going to hell for even asking the question. So
And
that's got to be frustrating.
it is. And then instead of them just saying, I don't know,
Right.
instead of them saying, I don't know, but
Hmm.
I can show you how to find it.
Right.
Or they may not know how to find it.
Right.
Because now you got these iPad pastors. They do everything on iPad,
Right. Hmm.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's that's a whim in itself. So I shoot.
It's also a reflection, to be honest with you, on
Mhm.
where we get our knowledge from.
Right.
So how are we going to solve problems without really having that knowledge? And that knowledge, even beyond knowledge, but that wisdom that we need. And when I
Oh,
say that, I mean, like, you know, my dad asked me, what's the difference between wisdom and knowledge?
right.
That was a serious question,
Hmm.
because he didn't really give me the answer to that question.
Right.
He let me figure that answer out myself.
Yeah. Because not, I mean, knowledge. How can, like I always, it's a statement I always tell my son, and I always tell him, people hate an educated man.
Hmm.
So when you're educated, it's kind of it's kind of very, it is what it say. It's hard to say that when you have educated people in there, and
Right,
educated people feel like nobody's above them because they're educated. That's not true.
right.
My mom
Mm,
always used to tell us, you could have book sense, common sense, and street sense,
that's
and
right.
you need all three right
That's
now.
right.
You need
Hmm.
all three. You
Most
need all
definitely.
three.
And
And
then, bam, that translates into balance. You know what I mean?
okay, yeah, yeah. And
Because you
you
can't
need
just be one
freedom.
way.
No, and you really need all of them. But I'm telling you, people don't understand. Street sense prevail over all of them because that's what
Well,
people
well,
do
well,
on
well,
you.
well. I can't just. Well.
Well,
You
I just
saying
can't
over
just say
over
that.
biblical knowledge?
No, not over biblical knowledge.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
that's what I
never,
just wanted to just
never.
clear
Oh
that part.
no, never. I don't. You know what? I don't think anybody can overpower that.
No, not in my experience that I've seen. I
Right.
was just thinking about, the way that Jesus taught, and he used
Hmm.
an analogy about a seed.
Uh huh.
Remember when he said, "Whatever you reap, you'll sow, or whatever you sow, you
And
reap."
and I believe that I do. I tell my kids that all the time.
Mm.
You reap
But
what you sow.
what's so fascinating about that saying is that it's so many different ways that you can use that analogy about a seed.
Yeah.
And that's what's deep about his wisdom to me, is that you could apply it in so many different ways.
Right. Right. Right.
you
Right.
know because whatever, you can apply it to, well, if you're treating people bad, bam, eventually what's going to happen is they going to turn on you, because that's the
Exactly.
seeds you planted.
Exactly. 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 And it is true. Because somebody gonna always trying to get you back for trying to get them.
That's right. And that's just the way they did it. But when you treat people good, people going to want to do something for you.
You ain't
That's
never got to
that's the
worry
seed
about
that you planted.
that. You don't never have to worry about that. If you start off with the kindness, you ain't got to worry
Mhm.
about if this person gonna stab you in the back, that person gonna stab you in the
Right.
back. If you just do it the right way all the time, I'm not gonna say people don't have enemies, because you can be just as kind as a person. The person may not like
Yeah.
you because your hair parted crooked. You know, it's just it's just all kind of stuff. It's just
Right.
it's just how you do it. But my main thing, one thing I always say, and it's just my opinion, it's just my opinion. I always say I'd rather deal with outsiders than deal with family.
Yeah. Well,
And it's bad to say that,
right.
but
Mhm.
and that's some people say that all the time, but I would help my family regardless. But it's just some
Right.
things you have to just be like,
I'm
okay,
gonna have to let
enough is
y'all make
enough.
it on.
Yeah,
Right.
enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is
Mhm.
enough. So I usually always on here old school. I usually always ask guests to give us questions, or ask us something, because like I said, for my last two segments, some people felt like I was giving out the wrong vibe about being married young and not being married young, which I wasn't giving that vibe. I was just giving my own
Right.
interpretation. But how
Well,
people take it.
well. What I say on that end is this. That it's nothing that anybody's gonna be able to say that nobody can't take and twist. You know what I'm saying?
True, true.
And so it's like, what you meant. And
Yeah.
then of course, they had probably a majority of people who listened to what it was that you were saying and got it the way that you meant for it to be taken. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Now,
Right.
for those that didn't take it the way that it was meant to be taken,
Hmm.
then bam, you know what I'm saying? Like you're doing right now. You come back and you clarify so that they can get a clear understanding.
Exactly.
Understanding, because
Exactly.
at the end of the day, it's all about communication, and it's like, if we can understand what it is that the other person is saying, then, you know what I mean, we won't
Right.
have as many problems, because we got a lot
Right.
of problems. And if we sitting here worried about everything that come out of somebody's mouth, we're going to have some problems. Okay.
You gonna always be worried, and that's something my husband tell me all the time. My husband's like, okay, don't let it bother you. It didn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all
Right.
anyway. But it's just that I want people to know on this show, all of us are human.
Hmm.
Myself, old school, we have a whole lot of more people on the Tower Radio Show with us and on Girl Chat. We all are human. We
Right.
we we say what we feel in our heart at that time. We're all human. It's
Right.
just something that we go through, and a lot of people don't get that people are human. We make mistakes. We're supposed to make mistakes to learn from them. You know, like I said, just certain things that happened in my life was just not for me.
Hmm.
You know,
Right.
so it's to each his own.
Right. Hmm.
Like I said when I first started, I don't mind being an open book about my life. It's it's
Hmm.
it's, it's my life. I went
Hmm.
through it. They didn't. So
Right. Well, I tell you, the way that I am is this. I realize that I just want to put it out there since you
right,
since you kind of opened it up.
right.
Um, if anybody is listening, I mean, and taking something that I'm saying offensively, please look over me. I am old school, not just by name, but I'm old school for real. And
Right.
the thing is that I will probably make mistakes as a human being. That's what I'm
Exactly.
going to do. But at the same time, the way my dad told me was like this: take what it is that you can use and use
Hmm.
that,
Exactly.
and omit everything else. If it's something that just omit it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if it's something that just really really bugs you, bring it to my attention, and I'll try to see if I can clarify it for you.
Right. And
That's the
that's well
best way I
spoken.
can do it.
That's well spoken. You can't say that any other way. We do, we do the girl chats on here, and then like I
Right.
said, you guys, we have more DJs. We have old school, we have MC Grand C, we have Unstoppable, we have my husband, Mr. Dot, we have Sugar, we have Miss Keisha, we have two other people, Trill Spitter and his wife. So we all, it's like a bundle of us, and we all have our own opinions when we get on here, and we have our own stories, and we embrace each other. We don't
Right.
cut each other up, because all of us
Mhm.
have been through something in life. It's not what people think it is, but we all have been. I got some stories, Lord, old school.
Oh, me and you too. Me and you both. Come on
I
now.
got some stories. And my mom was talking to us today. When we were sitting at the table, and my husband, we were all telling the kids, because that's something we do. I took it back to when I was growing up. You know how it was old school when you grew up. Everybody had to sit at the table.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I took it back there for my kids to show them. And my mom and my husband, we were telling our kids about how when we was coming up, you had to eat everything on your plate.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? You couldn't.
And whatever mama cooked, you wasn't, well, I don't like that. You better like that.
You better like it, or you're gonna be at that table all day, all day. And that's what my husband was telling them. You can get up from the table and say, "Oh, I'm not gonna eat that." No, no. It was either one thing. You're gonna sit there, you're gonna get a whooping. So
That's right.
and if you sat there too long, you was gonna get a whooping anyway. So,
That's it.
and so my kids be
But that
like,
was discipline.
yeah, but these kids, when you tell them that, they be like, I couldn't grow up when y'all grew up. No, y'all be better.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we caught some whoopings.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing that I was talking about as far as the brainwashing.
Right.
I mean, quite honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I see people accepting and taking things that is unheard of.
I'm trying to tell you.
And so it's like, I mean, nowadays, kids talking about calling the cops on the parent for being a parent, and actually the cops coming,
Wish we had said that coming.
Well, we would have had to go with the cop, and that's where we live.
But we'd have had to go naked.
That's right. That's where we live. We live with the cops now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ain't no coming back home.
No, you're a part of their family. You're gonna be on their W-2s and everything else. If you don't come up missing on no milk card.
But now, if they had to continue to do that, you know what I'm talking about? The cops wouldn't be messing with us about how we raise our children.
No,
because it'll be so many bad children over there in the police station. They'd be like, "Please come get your child."
Your kid. Yeah, because it was like that when my son was going to school, they used to call me and my husband the helicopter parents.
Right.
And I used to always tell them, "I'll get on my child if they're wrong." And I will defend them when they're right. But when he was going to school, you had teachers, they would get mad because me and my husband would scold at him. I'm like, but you would want parents like that.
That's right.
You're saying don't say that to him. No, you would want a parent to get on a child to respect you. So you don't like respect, So
well, I was a school teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and my wife was a school teacher for 17 years. She actually retired from HISD after 17 years.
Oh, wow.
And so as far as that aspect, now I can speak on that.
Right.
When it comes down to it, seriously, it has a lot to do with, that parenting, like you said, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they can get away with anything at home, and then you expect for them to be great at school, that's just not going to happen. We have to do our part. Now, don't get me wrong. The laws and everything like this right here get in the way of that a lot. You know what I mean? They get in the way of it a lot. I mean, if you say something to your kid about the way that you want to bring them up, they all in your business, and they all in, just like that thing as far as T.I., with his daughter. And I know I'm on the radio and I'm saying this and all this right here, but he checked her virginity or something like that. That's his daughter.
He went too far.
Well, me personally, I feel like this, okay? That's T.I.'s daughter.
Yeah.
That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's T.I.'s daughter, okay? Now, T.I., actually, he's a man. He raised his kid the way that he want to raise his kid, according to the way that he was. And who am I to say whether he went too far with his? I mean, because there's a lot of things that I might do. They might say that I went too far.
Yeah.
Or that I didn't go far enough.
Yeah, I think for me, the reason why I said it went too far for me, because I'm a woman, and that would not be something. When I was coming up, when it came to that part of being checked and the female area part, my dad never did that.
Well, I'm not saying that. I want to get it straight so that you can clarify. He didn't do the gynecological
No, he didn't take
test.
the test or anything.
What he did was he wanted to know the results.
Right.
Now the thing is this: that's not nothing new. What he did.
No.
Actually, to be honest with you, I read a scripture in what was that? I think it was Leviticus. I'm not sure. I'm not sure
Uh-huh.
the scripture that I read it, but I just read it like either last night or Thursday night
Uh-huh.
before last. But
Mhm.
anyway, it kind of caught me by surprise because it was talking about a man, he'll marry a woman or whatever. This was Israel,
Right.
and basically, if he married this particular woman and he didn't feel like she was a virgin, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And he said he wanted to annul the marriage and he just wanted to leave and he wanted to get out of it.
Right.
The father would go and take the sheets that they slept on or whatever, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
To show the judge the evidence of her virginity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it was a big deal whether or not, because it was shame on the family if the woman wasn't a virgin. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, a lot of people say that this is old fashioned and this is this and this is that. But I'm just saying that was Israelites, that was God's people.
Right.
They got their laws not from opinions, they got their laws directly from God. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Mhm.
when we say, hey, well, that was old school and that was this and that was that, you're talking about God's laws. So
Right.
last time I checked, He created us. You know what I'm saying? We ain't create
Right.
Him. So
Exactly.
we got to go by
Ex-
what I from the sense that I have.
Mhm.
I feel like we got to go by what He said because He made us.
Right. 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 And ain't nothing wrong with saying that. Ain't nothing wrong with
Well, I'm
saying
quite
that.
sure I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for saying that,
No, I mean,
but
and here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. They can't flack you for your opinion, and that's what people need to learn. You can't flack somebody for their opinion. They didn't say it was a fact; it was their opinion. So
mhm,
I don't, and that still stems back to what I'm saying. I don't understand how people can say, "Okay, tell me how you feel," and then when you tell somebody how you feel, well, no, I don't like how you feel. How you gonna feel upset about you asking me my opinion of something? You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
But
mhm,
people do that. People don't get that, and it's not being flagged. My thing is, even though me as a woman, I probably didn't get the full grips of the story with that, but I can say this: a lot of little girls love just to have their dad in their corners. A lot of little girls don't have that.
well, right, that's true.
You
And
know,
like I say, I'm not saying that he was right. I'm
right,
not saying that he was wrong,
right,
but I'm saying that he has every right to manage his household
right.
as
The way he
far as
wants.
the way that he wants to. Because here's the thing, and I go back to the Bible again. God charges that man for that.
Yeah.
He charges the man for that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go. He don't go in and say, well, the wife allowed this or the wife allowed that.
Right.
He goes to the man. Now I know that that goes against the whole psyche of the way that the world is looking at things today.
Right. Right.
But how you going if a person have the right to be a Christian, then
Right.
he should be able to be obedient to God. And if God is saying, well, this is the way that it's supposed to be,
Right.
just because homeboy said, well, we don't do it that way no more, that means not a hill of beans to a true Christian.
Right.
And so it's like, well, I mean, either we have the right to worship God the way that he said it, or we don't.
Right. Right. But with that, a lot of times, I always tell people, because they say it's so many different people believing in so many different gods. There's only one God. To me, that's what
Exactly.
I was taught. It's only one
Well, it
God.
is. I agree.
It's only one God. So
One true God. One true
yes,
God. Let's
but
say
I'm
that.
not going to knock somebody if they want to be Muslim. And I'm not going to knock them if they want to be
Right.
Buddhist. I'm not going to knock them
Mhm.
if they want to do that. I'm not going to knock them, because I'm still learning faith myself, so I can't knock
Right.
anybody for their faith.
Mhm.
So but at the end of the day, I feel like if somebody does have a different faith than you, don't judge them, don't shun them, because
Oh no,
we all
no.
still growing. You know what I'm saying? We're
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
still growing.
But see, at the same time, we
Hmm.
have to look at it like, and where I'm going with it is that a lot of times, if a person have a Christian view, then they knock him. You see what I'm
Right,
saying? In
right,
other words, it's like,
right,
okay, if you have a daughter and you want your daughter and you raise your daughter to be chaste or you know, even virginly, you know what I mean? Which
Mhm.
we really
Mhm.
kind of don't see that today, but too
Right.
much. But I'm saying if you wanted to raise your daughter that way, somebody got a problem with it.
Yeah.
You know, my thing is why? What business is it of yours? If
Right.
that's the way that them people believe, and them people right there trying to raise their daughter in such a way, and the daughter ain't complaining, and sometimes even if the daughter is complaining, I mean, you know, how many people, great pianists, have been put in front of a piano and the mama said you're gonna play for 2 hours and you be sitting there, I want to go play, but he gonna play that piano. But
Yeah.
now they glad this, I don't know what, that mama had him sit there and play the piano.
And I
And it's
think
the
the
same
issue.
way.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Well,
No.
I think that it's the same way that it is when they teach people how to, or teach, you know, raise their kids in such a way. You know,
Right.
I remember when I was growing up, I was dating a young lady,
Mhm.
and the you know, I had came over to her house because she
Mhm.
had really kind of invited me over. Or I don't even know how that went, but anyway, the dad came out and he asked me, "Were you invited?" And
Wow.
I was like, "Uh, no, sir." And he was like, "Well, I need you guys to go ahead and get back in your car and leave." He said, "I raised my daughters to be eligible bachelorettes, and that's the way that I keep my daughters eligible." Okay.
Mm.
And I couldn't do nothing but respect him because that was how he raised his daughters.
Right. Right.
So the next time I came over, I
Mhm.
asked to be invited.
And
You
and
know,
and and it's a lot of respect on both ways.
right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a lot of because you don't really see that a lot anymore. You don't see
Hmm.
where like for me, for me, it was a shocker to me because when I go somewhere with my husband, he opens the door for me.
That's right.
I never in my like I said in previous relationships, I never had that. So when you
Right.
get that, you're like, whoa. So and to this day now, my husband opens the door. Don't let me open. He opens the door at the store. He does all that. You
Hmm.
know that tells me, as my grandmother would say, God rest her soul, that's a man that was raised right.
Right. Hmm.
You know, and I,
Hmm.
and my husband, sometime when he seen my son, he caught him doing that for young ladies, opening the door, and I was like, okay,
So he
it
passed it on.
it passes on. So it's not that. I hear a lot of kids say, well, no, I can't get that. Yes, you can. You either want it or you don't.
Right.
So it's all in how you do things. Like I tell my kids, like little children to me are like sponges. So they
Hmm.
mock everything
That's
they
right.
see. So if you
Hmm.
giving them good mockery to follow, they're gonna do
That's
good.
right.
But
Hmm.
if
That's
you're
right.
doing foolishness, they gonna mock foolishness.
Exactly. Hmm.
So
That's
it's
exactly.
yeah. And people get mad when you say that, but it's
I
the
know.
truth.
I know. I know. Because see, the thing is this though. You know, you have to think about it, and that's what I mean by the brainwashing.
Right.
You know, before Oprah Winfrey started saying that spanking your kids was abuse, ain't nobody think, everybody was getting their little butts whooped and going to class and doing what they needed
Now,
to do.
now Oprah need to stop because she know probably when she was little, she was getting that behind toe up.
She did, but she allowed them to convince her that it was abuse
See,
while they was whooping the hell out of us. Now, here's one thing that I want to say
thank you.
about that too.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as that goes, spanking kids. Now, I'm gonna tell you like this right here. I read a scripture that will blow your mind.
Okay.
That scripture straight up said that
Is it the spare the
if you,
rod and spoil the child?
I always heard that one, but you know that the Bible go deeper than that and said straight up
Okay.
and down that if you beat him with a rod, he will not die, but you will deliver his soul from Sheol itself. Sheol is another word for hell or the grave,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So basically, you know, what we're doing is the exact opposite of what the Bible says to do. And then we looking at each other like, wonder why it didn't work. You know, I mean, it's not going to work if we try to do it ourselves. We
Right.
actually have to listen to our creator. You know, it kind of reminds me of a story where it was a man, he was driving to California and his car broke down.
Mhm.
When his car broke down, a man passed by and he said, "Hey man, can I help you?"
Mhm.
He was all up under the hood, sweating and this and that and that and this or whatever. No, no, I got it, I got it, I got it. So the man went on. Way after a while, a couple of hours later, the man came back. He done got what he wanted on his way back to the house. He said,
Wow.
"Look, man, let me stop one more time. Can I help you?" "Well, I've been messing with it for 2 hours and this, that, and the other." "All right, go ahead." And the man went up under there and tinkered about 2 minutes. Go in there and start it up. Vroom, the car started up. And the man said, "How did you do that? I've been messing with this for 2 hours." He said, "My name is Gerald Ford. I created that car."
Wow.
Well, that's the same thing that it is with God. We're sitting around here messing up our lives, doing all kinds of different things that don't work. Okay. When He
Yeah.
created us,
Yeah.
everything that we get has a manual. I don't care if
Right.
it's a comb. You
Right.
open the comb out the package, it's got some instructions on how to use a comb. You hear me?
Exactly. Right. Right.
You go there and you find a vase or whatever it is product that you get. It's got some kind of instructions on how to care for that product.
Right. Right.
Well, we're God's product, and
Right.
that Bible is our manual.
True.
That's what tells us how to get the best out of our lives. I'm
Mhm.
not trying to preach anything like that, but I mean, it's
No, you
like,
just giving a real. You just giving a
that's
real.
real. I mean, it's like, the stuff that's in it work, and the stuff
Yeah.
that we do just on our own just don't work.
Right.
And so that's why I subscribe to, and that's why I said at the beginning of this that my whole nucleus is that book right there, because as long as I stick close to that,
Mhm.
things work the way that they're supposed to work. When I start getting further away from it, it's like stuff just, I'm leaning on my own understanding, and I wasn't meant to. It's just certain things that we weren't meant to do.
Right. Right. Right.
And that's why, going back to the Ti thing, as
Uh
far as
huh.
him trying to
Mhm.
to protect his daughter's virginity or whatever, I feel like that he has a right to want to try to raise
Keep that
his daughter
sacred.
in
Yeah.
that way. Right.
Right.
Why? Because the simple thing is this. Okay, so you love your children, right? Don't
Mhm.
you love your children? You want your children to get the best out of their lives, right?
Right.
Well, some people feel like letting them do whatever they want to. That's the way to let them do whatever, to get the best out of their lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, actually, that's
It's
incorrect.
and it's stupid to tell your kid that.
Exactly, because you got to train your kid. If that was the case, they wouldn't make you take your kids to school.
Yeah.
They make you go. They actually make you take your kids to school, and then the teacher and the parent have to work together. The parent got to be on the kid just as much as the teacher's on the kid,
Exactly.
because then the kid is going to realize that this is the way to go. We have to have some discipline around here. We used to call it
Mhm.
straightening. We're fixing to get some
Mhm.
straightening around here.
Mhm. Right.
And it works two ways. You can't teach a kid if the kid is all climbing up and swinging on the ceilings. You
Right.
got to be able to sit him down, and you got to be able to instruct that kid.
Right. Right.
And that's
Right.
just the way that it is. And it all starts at home,
Yeah.
you know. And so we kind of got away from that because we started listening to the psychologists. And when I say we, I
Mhm.
am talking about black folks. And we actually started listening to them. The
Mhm.
more money that we got, and the more people that came with those acronyms behind their names, like
Mhm.
PhD and CEO and all these different people or whatever, we start thinking that they know more than what the Bible know.
But we start listening to them, and they got bad tail. Well, let me say it the right way. They got badass kids. Let me just say it how it
You
is.
already know.
Let me just
I
say it
know.
how it is. Because how can I sit on your couch and you tell me ABCDEFG about my kid? But
Hmm.
hell, your kid bad as hell. That's just like even with I was having a conversation with somebody. We was talking about school shootings,
Yeah.
and so I said, and people on here that watch this, please understand, I'm just speaking me. And I said, you've never ever heard of a, a minority or a child that's not of the Caucasian race shooting up a school.
Right.
You never hear that. You know what I'm saying? You never hear that. But what kills me
Mhm.
about it is when they do it, the first thing they say is, "Oh, they have mental issues. They
Right.
have mental issues." You
Hmm.
okay? So take it back. So if it was somebody of a different race that did that, would they have mental issues too?
Exactly. Hmm.
That's why I
But
say it can't be
see,
one
like,
sided.
yeah, I remember, coming up, and looking at, people of different races, because I came up in the '60s. You know what I'm talking
Okay,
about? I'm talking
right,
about Black Panthers, Martin Luther King, and I'm talking about Malcolm X. Everybody was here when I was here.
right,
And so what I'm saying is that, I mean, I saw the same thing that we just saw with the marching and
uh huh,
everybody going out there trying to burn down everything, and
right,
you know the whole protest. We
right,
did that.
right,
I mean, I personally didn't. I was in diapers, but I was still alive, and I still felt the vibe.
right,
And so what I'm saying is that, you know, it repeated itself. I saw it repeat itself.
right,
You know, and you know, a lot of it is of course in its design anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's
right,
designed that way. I mean, when you start really getting off into it, you start seeing how, black folks just get along. We're just like wind up toys. You know what I'm talking
right,
about? They put a
right,
key in our back and just watch us go.
right,
And so, like, and when I say that, I mean, no disrespectful way, but I'm just saying straight up and down our source of information. And I said that before.
right,
We're going to their information as our source of information. And
right,
my thing is that we need to go to God's word. We got it
right,
so bad that we actually what they call the Bible the white man's book. I've heard people say that. Yeah,
right,
you got that white man's book, and I'm going, well, is the white man from the Middle East? Is the white man from? A lot of people say Africa. When you really do the research, you do find out that Africa and Egypt, I mean, and Israel, those two different places are so close that some people say that they're on both Africa and the Asian coast.
right.
But the thing is this: it ain't white. It didn't come from no white man. It didn't come from the Caucasus Mountains,
Right.
regardless. So when we
Right.
listening to that book, we're not listening to them. We listening to the men of old. We listening to the people of color. We listening to
Exactly.
our own culture. That's the
Exactly.
Bible.
Exactly.
And that's what
Exactly.
people don't realize. The Bible is our culture. It's not
No,
their
they don't.
culture.
Yeah. People don't try to get it, but it's just so much, that I feel that we should not have to explain to people. That is the crazy part about the whole situation. You should not have to explain your faith. You should not have to explain your life. And people feel like they have to do that all the time. And I feel like you should not have to explain yourself to a person. Get to know me, and I wouldn't have to explain myself so much.
You're right.
But people see that, but know me, know me, but don't judge me at the same time while you're trying to know me.
Hmm. Well, I say it like this.
Hmm.
We're being brainwashed. We're being
Right,
brainwashed, and we're being brainwashed in such a way to where we accept things that are unnatural. We
right,
accept now. We got this word that's called politically correct. And that means
right,
that basically what everybody in the world accepts.
right.
And so, as long as we have that, we're going to continue to be brainwashed
Oh, of
because,
course.
yeah, we're doing what they want us to do right now. I mean, seriously, something small like follow your heart. That don't sound like a big deal. Follow your heart. Do whatever your heart tells you to do.
Right,
You know that's the exact opposite of what the Bible tells us. It tells us that the heart is more treacherous than anything else.
right,
So what I'm saying is we keep getting these messages that's totally opposite
right,
of what our heritage and what our people do. A lot of people say, "Well, the blacks, we are the Israelites."
right,
I'm not gonna argue with them and
right,
say yes or
right,
no. I don't
right,
know. I don't know, but I do know this: that them people that Bible was written
right,
over there. It wasn't written over here. It wasn't written in no England. It wasn't written in no Caucasian deal. It
Right.
wasn't. That's not a book that was written by them. Or I
Right.
know it was written by God. You know what I'm saying? Inspired by God. But at the same time, we have to take a look at it and see that. Wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Why are these people right here telling us how to live?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Why are we? And then the thing is the way that they're. I mean, I know a lot of people probably gonna jump all over me about this, but I mean, it's the truth. They're actually emasculating the black man straight up. They've
Yeah.
been trying to get us in a dress for so long. You know what, David Chappelle? Remember when he had that he was sitting on Oprah Winfrey and he made that point, and the
Yeah.
point that he made was about you know that everybody thought that it was funny. Wesley Snipes was hard and all of this stuff right here, and then they took him and put him in a dress. You know, they take all of they want to take all the action heroes and take all the super strong, the male figures, and
Right.
they want to put them in a dress.
Hmm.
And they wanted to put him in a dress, and he was like, he just walked away. They
We
was,
have
oh man, it would be so funny, and he just wouldn't do it.
we have MC Grand that's coming in. Hold on, let me add him into the stream.
Sounds wonderful.
All right. You in there?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, what's up? What's
Hey, what's
up?
going on? How you
Just
doing?
how you doing, man? How y'all doing? I just got off work, so I got my camera kind of off right now.
That's all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
you in there?
You in here though. You in here. So we've been talking about a little bit of everything. See, we've been talking about a little bit of everything. From from the Bible to opinions to mental health. We talked about everything. If you want to throw something out there, throw it out there.
Yeah, I just wanna. I was talking to Sam, man. He had me thinking of. I've been reading some scriptures,
Okay.
and he was like, he asked me, and I was like, he say, race. He say, what color is the spirit of God? And I was like, you got a point, man. Ain't no color. You know what I'm saying? So, everybody out here, they out here fighting about black and white, but it
Right.
don't make sense. You know what I mean? It don't make
Right.
sense. So, Sam, man, you really clarified that for me, man. I appreciate that, man.
Thank you, thank you. Hey, but listen, it's old school.
He didn't change his. He has changed his name to old school. No more saying.
It's old school.
Yeah, it's old
Old
school now.
school.
So we gotta have that in there. You gotta have that in there. You gotta have the older generation to help the young generation. Like I said, I'm just 42, so it's a lot. I'm still learning and learn. I don't look 42, but it's a it's a lot of stuff that I'm learning. And also, even when we do the chat, I also want to bring some stuff up with, like, about music and things like that. But just topics of the world is what we really are talking about. It's just it's a lot of stuff. I try to watch a little bit of everything. I know it was something. I don't know if you've seen it. See, it was something that I think his name is Cal Wayne. I think he's a good
Oh,
friend
I
of
know Cal
of
Wayne.
yeah of George Floyd, and I
Hmm.
think someone made a comment about like F George Floyd or something like that. I was trying to watch the video to really get the statement, but I watched his live, and I left a comment. I think that whoever that was very disrespectful.
Hmm.
I mean,
That wasn't Cal Wayne that said that, all right?
no, 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 no. Someone else said it, and he was replying to what he was saying. And what he was saying, I was
Mm.
telling one of my other one of the other hosts that on the show with me, and I was telling her about it, and she was like, "Well, I told her, I said, if it was me doing an interview and a person said that, I would end it." And she was like, "Well, you don't really want to do that." Yeah, I would have, because number one, that's total disrespect for a man that's not alive and they can't speak for itself.
Who
Right.
said? But who said that? Somebody said that while you doing the interview.
No, not me. It was somebody else doing an interview, and
No,
that was
no,
Right.
no,
hard.
no,
She's saying that she would have ended the interview.
Yeah, I would have, if it was me interviewing that person and they said that, I would have ended it.
That would have been a wrap.
Yeah, that'd have been a wrap, because you just straight disrespectful off the bat. You straight
but
disrespectful.
like what I'm asking is, like, I know that wasn't you, but like somebody was doing an interview with Cal Wayne, and then they said they just cursed. They just said for the
No,
cuss word.
someone, no, 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 no. Somebody else was doing an interview with another guy, and I guess they spoke about George Floyd, and they made something a very rude statement. And
Dang.
people got to understand social media, that stuff revolves. So when you say something about somebody, you don't know who. So
Hmm.
you have to watch what you say. You don't know
So
who
what
knows
they
who.
what exactly was said?
Well, I really don't know the
Oh, okay.
specifics behind it. I just know when I watched the live with Cal Wayne, he was very, he was very upset, which he should have been. That was his
Right,
friend,
yeah.
which he should have been, And what I'm saying is the person who did the interview should have cut it short when that was said off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just no, you're not gonna disrespect this man, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that affected everybody, especially people of the black race. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it actually gave us how do you say it?
An
We were
eye opener.
traumatized of what they call it,
Yeah,
post traumatic stress
that was
disorder
traumatizing to see a man killed
on national
lively.
TV. Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's so disrespectful. That is
Right,
so disrespectful. So I felt where he was coming from, and that's just like me. Anybody that we bring on here, we interview them, just know you will never be disrespected. One of our co-hosts kind of popped out, he'll come back in. But you'll never be disrespected on this show. We don't disrespect anybody, none of our hosts disrespect anybody. We give everybody their fair opinion. They're able to say what they feel and how they feel. Welcome back, see.
Yeah, my
Um,
bad.
they're able to say what they feel. You will never be disrespected on the Tower Radio Show because we don't disrespect anybody. And if you are a guest on the Tower, we do not want you to disrespect us either. Um,
right,
but I felt like
Right.
this. I felt like this with even in that statement of George Floyd, that man died a horrible way,
hmm,
very horrible way. And if anybody that's watching this live, if you seen that, for me as a mom of black males, that hurt me,
yeah.
because that could have been my sons, that could
Could
have
have
been
been any
my
one of us,
husband, it could have been anybody, could have been one of you, you guys.
one of
It's
us.
just,
Hmm.
yeah, and
Hey,
it's like,
hold on one sec. Hold on one sec. I'll
okay,
be right back.
and it's like you have to understand that, it's that dynamic there, it puts a toll on you.
Right,
Because I think when that happened, a lot of people relive that on their own,
right.
you
Hmm.
know. And so I felt like whoever that was that did the interview with that person, you should have ended that. That was out of line.
Hmm.
But I'm not gonna get into that because I don't have all the specifics on that. I'm not shaming nobody, but that's just me. That was wrong. You know, that's
Hmm.
not how things work. I this world, and you tell me if I'm right, old school, this world is just, it's like this. It's just turning.
Well, it is. It is. Well, actually, you got to drop your hands down a little bit because it's it's falling apart.
You don't know if you're going this
Because I
way, you
tell
don't know if
you
you're
what.
going that way.
Well, see, the thing is that, but at the same time, it's going right along to schedule. It's going right along with what it says. We're actually in Luke
Mm-hmm.
21:11. That's where we are specifically in the Bible. We're
Okay.
in Luke 21:11.
Okay.
Let me read 21:11. Do we do that on the show?
Yep.
You
You
want to
know
read
what?
no?
You can't. I'll let you do that. For those who are not so, this is not, we're not turning
Well,
it into a religious
we're
show.
not trying to. As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna just put it
Okay.
to you like this right here. Go to Luke 21:11 whenever you get a chance at your leisure and see if we ain't sitting right smack dab in the middle of it.
And if you want to listen to old school do it, you can catch him on the Sunday show, which is his show, and that's straight biblical all day long. So you can catch him on Sundays. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
You know. So it's
Yeah.
so
So,
it's uh-huh.
So old school, you bringing the biblical show back on Sunday? I thought you were doing it, man. You doing it?
I don't know. We're gonna talk about it. I haven't talked
Yeah,
to Shay about it yet.
yeah, we'll get there, but I'm saying that will be for him, you know. But on this show, so I am going to digress a little bit of music to the music artists and let them know, you know, you have Girl Chat on the Tower Radio Show and you have Underground Legend Podcast on the Tower Radio Show. The Tower Radio Show is a radio show, but you have all my different DJs that will have their own shows. Um, I'm a part of Girl Chat. I'm also a part of the Tower Radio Show. So I will start very soon talking to music artists. So some of the artists that we have on our show, I may pop in and do a little interview with you. I don't know who it may be, but on Wednesdays is the shout out Wednesdays from the Tower Radio Show where we shout out artists that submit their music. Um, let me see. I want to talk about something else that I think we need to talk about. Um, a person sent something to me and they said something about black fathers in the community. Do you think that there many fathers that are home with their kids? Are there many fathers that are gone? And I have two black males on here, so y'all could tell me that.
Well, let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Hmm.
what do you see? I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, we just have to keep it real. What do you
yeah,
see?
yeah,
You know, we don't see very many black. Well, we see a few. I'm gonna
yeah.
say it like this:
Hmm.
um, not all black fathers are home with their children. That's the best way to say it, and
Right.
I don't think that anybody can argue that point. You
That's
know,
true. And it's not just blacks. I'm not just saying blacks because you have a lot of other races that don't have their fathers
I
either.
know that I was raised with my father,
Mhm.
and my kids was raised with me.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I can speak for myself. I'm in the
Right.
house with mine. And
Right.
the reason being is because the way I was raised back again. You know what I mean?
Right.
I never had, and I know that that's rare, but
Mhm.
I never had kids with any woman but my wife. That's the only
Right.
kids I ever had.
Mhm.
Which I had friends that had kids with every chick that I mean, he got to go to her house, her house, her house, her house, and her
Wow.
house to see his kids.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth. I mean, and I think that it has a lot to do with um, the way that we view uh, a man in our community.
Mhm.
I mean, who agrees with me that if you got a bunch of women, you get dap from all your homeboys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I'm a woman, and then yeah, you see that a lot, and but I always had this theory. I never understood where it's like if a man dates a lot of women, it's cool, but if a woman dates a lot of men, she's whorish. How is
Yeah.
that different?
Well, it's different because of the simple fact that, and this is just basic as I don't know what, as basic as I can get.
Hmm.
But the man, when he leave by himself. When the woman leaves, she gonna leave with whatever child she got.
But the man gives her that child.
I understand, but he can walk
Yeah.
away.
R- Yeah. But I feel like it shouldn't be like that. I feel
Well, it
like,
shouldn't be like that.
you
No,
know,
that's not the way that it is. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you something.
hmm
That's part of the brainwashing we were talking about.
okay. Okay.
I mean, we can say whatever we want to, but every time that we talk and every subject that we hit and every thing that we look at and
Right.
say, well, what's
Right.
wrong with this picture? It's
Right.
because of that brainwashing.
Right. Right.
And there's no way to get around it. I mean, they told us that's okay. You
Right.
know, if
Mhm.
we get on radio or TV and we
Mhm.
say, hey, man, this is why it's wrong with it, we're going to get jumped. Like, I don't know what. I already know I'm going to get jumped. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm going to speak the truth.
Yeah, but you can't get that's the thing people don't get. How can I be jumped that goes back to what I'm saying. How can somebody jump you for your own opinion? That is just
But
not
it's
how.
not really an opinion. I mean, it's
Right.
just, the difference of an opinion is just means that basically some other opinions can differ. But there are things that are called facts. And I'm telling you
Right.
straight up, it is a straight up fact. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? That
Right.
brothers get dapped when they got more than one woman. You know what I'm
And
talking
that
about?
is
You a
so
pimp, you a player, you it is. And the thing that I'm saying to you is they don't be saying, oh my God, you're a pimp. No, they be like, yo, no, you're a pimp. I mean, so
right.
it's like it's a thing that what I'm saying, brothers want to be.
Right. And but it's a bad, I guess it's a bad persona because how,
How
how
could it
can,
be good?
yeah,
I
it's
mean, you
just,
got kids all over the place. How could that be good?
yeah,
When you was growing up, didn't you want your daddy? Didn't you want to have your daddy? I
yeah,
mean, especially when they do things like I mean, me and my wife were separated for a little while, and I left
yeah,
my little son, and they friends had father son thing or whatever, and I
right,
wasn't there for him, and he came to me and told me how he felt about that. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So I can
right,
only imagine children that grow up without their father in the home, or and how they feel when it's father son type stuff. It's some
right,
things that a man can
right.
teach a son that a woman just can't teach him.
True, because like I said, when I got married, my first marriage, all my kids were from my first marriage, and when my ex-husband left, my kids were young. And so when my husband now got into their lives, that's all they know is dad.
Mm.
And I can say this is that when you do have a man in your life, I always say this, you pick the right type of person. If you have children already and you're getting into a relationship with somebody, make sure that person is on that level with you and your kid. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And that's what I learned, and I learned from my husband, watching my husband with my son. My husband has taught my son so many things
Mhm.
that I couldn't teach him. And my husband broke it down to me. These are just things that you cannot tell him as a woman. You can't teach. I mean, you can't, a woman can tell a little boy, okay, push it there and pee, but it takes a man to really show him, hey, aim it that way, that way. So it's a difference. I'm not saying that it's good for a man to leave his home. No, I'm not saying that. But if a situation prevails and you do have to leave the home as a dad or a mom, explain that to that kid. Don't leave them
Well,
stuck.
right, and
You know.
I agree with you 100%. One
Hmm.
thing about it is that um, basically, due to the brainwashing,
Yeah.
we don't even know or understand anymore that a man has a responsibility. Okay,
Right.
um, we just walk smooth away from that responsibility of being a man.
Mhm. Mhm.
See, a man
Mhm.
is a person that is to provide for his family. He's the
Right.
provider for the family.
Mhm.
Um, for centuries. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, in the black family, the black community, a lot of that has changed because they would snatch us from the husband and the wife. They would take the wife and sell her to a whole nother slave master. All of the kids, separate all of those people, and I mean, all of those things happen to us. Actually, still has a mental um, stigma. In other words, we're
Right.
still stuck with the curse. We've
Right.
never come back together as natural people. And the thing is that we're the only ones that have to really go through that because
Right.
we experienced that. That was taken from us.
Right.
But what we have to do is we have to regain that because that's
Right.
normal.
Right.
It's normal. That's what normal life is. The father in the home is very, very important. And as a matter of fact, that's a
Right.
scientific fact.
Mhm.
So in that particular case, that's not just my opinion. That's just a straight up fact.
Right.
And when we don't have fathers in our homes, then you're gonna see problems arise in one shape, form, or
Yeah,
fashion.
that's that's true. Cause I was raised by my stepdad, but at the same time,
Uh-huh.
my dad was in my life too. He was right around the corner in Home Clark. Old school met my dad before. So,
Right.
like, the thing is, I was blessed and fortunate enough to hang around guys like old school that had common
Right.
sense. That
Right.
if I did get out the lease, old school turned into my dad. You know what I mean? So I just kept it real, and I was blessed. Thank God that I was around some good brothers.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
Hmm.
we got Dana. Hey Dana Roy, y'all. That's my god sister. Love her to death.
Hello.
She said, let me see, the brainwashing that the women don't need the man. Yep, that's true. And I'm gonna tell you that.
Exactly.
And the brainwashing that doesn't come that comes sometimes that comes from a woman's mother.
Yeah, that has
You know,
happened.
sometimes it comes from a woman's mother. For me, it didn't happen like that with my mom. When I divorced, my mom said, "Don't cry." God's gonna find you're gonna get somebody through God. My mom did that. My mom made me strong with it. But that is true with the brainwashing. For me, as a woman, as a part of the brainwashing, I can say this: a lot of times it all stems back to church, because when a woman goes through something, she'll go to church, and you have those women in church, but you don't have to da 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 da. They don't give you God's way of it; they give you their way of it. That's the same way with a man. If a man's going through something and he goes to a church, instead of the brothers in the church giving him that hope and that guidance, not all churches, I'm just saying, instead of giving that hope and that guidance, they give them their way of it and not God's way. And that's why a lot of times people back away, because you're not giving me, I think God's way is the best way to give it to me.
Well, that's exactly what I mean. And when I say brainwashing, that's a part of the brainwashing, because actually the thing is this. What it does is it gets you away from, you're being brainwashed away from the doing things God's way.
Exactly.
Even if you're in a church, if they're not doing it God's way, you being brainwashed to do things not God's way.
Okay. Okay.
So you have to actually take it upon yourself and be honest with yourself as far
Right.
as what God's way is.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, like, here it is, it's like we have a lot of people that might not have a moral standards. In other
Uh-huh.
words,
Right.
they sleep with whoever they want to, they do whatever they want to, and all these different things. That's a part of the brainwashing, because they say, well, that's okay, just as long as you're two consenting adults, you can do this and you can do that and whatever. And then bam, all of a sudden a child springs up from it.
But it's when you say brainwashing, to me, I would say a different word. I would say people glorify it.
Well, yeah, that's how they brainwash you, though,
They
because see, the
glorify.
thing is if they glorify it, that's gonna make the onlooker want to be glorified.
That's right. And that's why I'm like, okay, when you get to that place, this is my thing with it, and it's just my opinion. You know how those people do me, old school. They don't like my opinion too much, but it's just my opinion. I feel like this, and this is something me and my husband always say: people only do to you what you allow them to do. So if
Hmm.
you allow a person to keep stepping on you and stepping on you and stepping on you and stepping on you that's what they're gonna do. Because you
Right.
keep letting them do it. It's just the point you got to be like, oh hell no, I can't do this.
Hmm.
But I think me, as being the woman on the show, and trying to get that out, it does. It's like it's a different level of playing field when it comes to a woman doing something than it is a man. So
Hmm.
I, but nowadays, and I hate to say this, men act more womanified than a woman.
Well, that's part of the brainwashing.
You know,
They want to see, remember when I said earlier that they want to demasculate the man?
right.
If
Which
you are
I don't have a
tough,
problem with people who are gay. Let me say that off the
well, I
bat
don't
before I
either, but
get
at the same time,
slapped.
what I'm saying to you is this, okay?
Hmm.
That there's a difference in uh, having a problem with somebody that's gay and actually just being a person that's actually observing um, whether or not, you know what I'm talking about, it's a
Yeah.
natural thing or whether or not it's something that, you know, you would want to. I'll put it to you like this right here. I don't know how anybody else feels, but I know that I have 3 sons, okay? And I
Hmm.
raise my sons to be men because I want my sons to be the type of men that can provide for a family.
Hmm.
Don't
Right.
always work, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes, you know, when you raising children or whatever, they're
Right.
gonna grow up and they're gonna do what they want to do.
Right.
But the point is that, you know, still as a man, you want to go ahead and do your job and do the best that you can and try to raise those kids to be the best man that they can possibly be.
Right.
As a matter of fact, you have women that actually are looking for a man, you know what I mean, that can provide, you know what I'm saying, and actually support her emotionally, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also uh just in every single way. Spiritually is very, very important. You know,
Right.
she's going to look to him to be able to do that.
Right.
You know, instead of having to be the person to always tell him, pick up your shoes and pick up your pants. And you know what I mean? She's going to be
Right.
expecting for that man to be a man.
Okay.
W-
She said, here we got some from a viewer. Okay. Okay. Dana says some men just want to live off women because they're where.
Right,
Let me see. We were right. Okay. Raised by a single mom.
right.
Okay. Raised by a single mom. Yeah, that's true. But here's something. Now that is true because I'm gonna tell you. But you got some men that are raised by a single mama. And sometimes I'm well, my son's still young, but I'm talking about these grown ass old men that
Hmm.
be like, I want to say about 30, right, 45.
Hmm.
You still live with your mama and your mama still baby you.
Hmm.
You know, and that's bad. That's bad. And then your mama, everything you do is right, and you can be wrong all out the door, but but you got
Yeah.
you got the men
Well,
like
that
that. You got
particular,
women like that too.
I had a friend of mine, okay,
Hmm.
and he was like that, you know, but basically, you know, he figured that what he would do is he would stay in the house. They had a very nice house,
Uh-huh.
and he figured that he would outlive his mama, come into inheritance of it, you know. And he ended up passing away before she did.
That sounds just like the segment we had with one of the female ladies on here, Sugar. She was telling us a scenario from the last show about a guy called himself trying to date her or talk to her or whatever. 56 years old, waiting on his mama to die so he can take her house.
See,
That's crazy.
so it's things that people do, you know. And the thing is that, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, it's
Hmm.
like a man is a creation of God. I mean, I'm not trying to preach,
Exactly.
but I mean, it's just real talk. And it's like he created him with a certain purpose. And it's like if I got a shovel and I'm trying to paint my car with it, that's just not gonna work. You can't paint a car with a shovel.
So let me ask you this: why do men? Because I have you and C here. Why do men always look for trophy women?
Well, that's just being a human, you know, and having good taste. When I say that, I
Right.
mean this.
Right.
Okay, you have a choice. You can get
Mhm.
a beautiful car right here, or you can
Uh-huh.
get a not so beautiful car.
Right. Right.
Okay, both of them will get you to work. Both
Right.
of them get is good at gas and everything like this right here.
Right.
But which one are they gonna choose? They're gonna choose the more attractive car.
Right. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. That more attractive car or that more attractive woman. Here's the thing. Is that do you know if it's an agenda behind what she's doing? Or are you with her just because of the beauty? Or what is that?
Well, that's an individual thing. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, you know, I'm gonna tell you
Right.
like this right here. There are some men that basically, when you me personally, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was
Right.
looking for a wife, I mean, I used to tell girls seriously. I mean, I was on that player stuff, and before I met my wife, and I was sitting there,
Uh-huh.
and I'm working all of making all of I think $3.47 over at McDonald's.
Are
Okay.
you serious?
I think it was three something. I'm not sure. I can't remember. It was so long
Right.
ago. But the thing is that while I was working there, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I was dating all them little girls, the snow cone girl and the ice cream girl and the one that worked in drive through and all that. And I wasn't serious. We
Right.
would brag about it. We would sit there and brag about how player we was and all this stuff right here. And then one day my wife walked through the door,
Oh.
and I was sitting there at a table.
Uh-huh.
And when she walked through the door, I didn't know her name or nothing, but I knew she was my wife.
See?
And I was just like, oh my God, I just saw my wife. Something just hit me. And he was like, dude, I didn't know you was married. And I was like, I'm not married, man, but that's the girl that I'm gonna marry.
See?
And I knew she was. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I sat there in that McDonald's and waited on that girl to come through there every day until I saw her again.
Mm-hmm.
And then bam, that was when I did. But the thing is that before I could get with her, I had to get rid of all of the other little chicks.
See there, see.
See what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
the thing is that we make choices, and the choice that I had made was whatever it was that I liked and whatever it was that I felt like I would need to be
Right.
faithful to this person, to
Right.
be able to be with this one person for the rest of my life. You know what I'm
Right.
talking about?
Right.
She exhibited all of that.
Right.
And so some people would look for somebody that they know that they can love forever.
Right.
And then some people just get somebody that, you know what I'm talking about, everybody else is going to give them compliments for.
Yeah.
So it's all about the motive of the man. What do he really want?
Yeah. That's
You
Man,
true.
know what I
I
mean?
think I think too it's about the lust. Sometimes the men look at the woman outer beauty, man, because they be lusting. But at the same time, you need to figure out, love the woman inner beauty. It's not always about her outer beauty. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But still, at the same time, we talking about marrying. When you're talking about marrying, lust is kind of like out the door. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, it's going to be there. But when you're talking about marrying somebody, you're talking about being there for that person. I mean, I don't think all of my homeboys that I do have that did get married didn't say, yeah, man, I'm just to marry this chick right here and I'm going to be cheating on her. And, no, they don't think like that. They be thinking, I'm fixing to marry this woman right here because I am in love with her. I want to be faithful. She is the only thing that I want to be with, right?
Right.
Yeah, but
And
all that plays a role. Like you want a good looking woman too. So sometimes
Well,
well,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah, you
men,
want a good looking
men.
woman. You do want that. Yeah, I mean, men do want a good looking woman, but here's the thing, and she can be cute all day long on the outside and be just as effed up on
That's
the
what I was saying.
inside.
no, I see
That's
exactly
what I
where
was
you
saying.
going. I see
That's what I was
exactly
saying.
where you going.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
That's what I was
You
saying.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, you could be just as cute as you want to be on the outside, but then when we get behind closed doors, you hell on wheels.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I didn't look at all that beauty, and I ain't look past that beauty. You know what I'm saying? And it's I guess for me, it's not about that. I want a person that something Tyler Perry said on one of his shows. You want to know a person in every season.
Well, yeah, and you definitely want to get to
You
know
know?
that person. That's the thing. Like I say, I dated my wife for 5 years before me and her got married, even though I knew she was my wife when I first saw her and I didn't even know what her name was.
Oh wow,
But the
wow.
thing is that, um, I noticed, the qualities that she had.
Hmm.
And the qualities that she had was a mild spirit. I mean, now I
Yeah.
know people probably jump all over me or whatever, but I never dated a real loud woman. And when I say that, I mean, them kind of girls that be like, and I told that nigga, I mean, I couldn't do it because, my personality and her personality is just gonna clash all of the time, and I didn't want to have a a, a battlefield for a relationship. That's just not. I'm not feeling that. Okay,
Right, right, right. And
and
that's
so
true. Cause I know for me, Lord, I know. I guess when my husband met me, I bet he. Cause I was taking past stuff with me in my relationship with my husband. I guess it took my husband to tell me I'm not that person. And
mhm,
sometimes you have to. And I started saying that because I was so used to being hurt. So
yeah,
when you have that person that's not trying to hurt you and they're really there to help you, it's I just always tell people God made my husband just for me. He gave them
Well,
to
that's
me
the
when,
way. That's exactly.
yeah,
I believe that.
he gave them to me
Yeah, I
when he
believe it
thought
too.
I
It's
was grown. Yeah, he
because
thought I was
I ain't
grown
mean
enough to do it. Yeah, that's what I'm really thinking.
I respect that.
Yeah, he gave them to me when he thought I was grown enough to handle it. Because
Hmm.
you can be grown all day, but you can't handle grown people predicaments, situations.
Hmm.
So I tell people all the time, God gave me my husband when he seen that I was mature enough.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's one thing that.
I respect that. I respect that, Shay, because you look like the type of female that don't play no games.
No, no, well, I don't play. This is my thing. I don't play games about my family. I don't play games about my husband. I will hurt you
Right.
about my husband. I will hurt you about my kids. I'll hurt you about my grandkids, my mama, all of them. Even my cousin. I hurt you about them. But my thing is when it comes to my husband, it's a totally different factor than it is with my children and my mother because God said that's what I'm supposed to connect to my husband. So I will fight you about my husband. Trust and believe. I will get down and get ratchet with
Well,
my
you're supposed to.
husband.
You're
You know.
supposed to. But see, the thing is this though, that that's what it's all about. A lot of times, they cheapen marriage because of the brainwashing. And
Yeah.
when I'm saying that the brainwashing, you'd be
Hmm.
surprised who the brainwasher is.
Your
You know,
family?
nope,
Who?
it's not. Mm-mm.
Really?
It's not your family. It's not a. It's not a certain person, people.
Okay.
It's a certain spirit,
Ah. Okay.
and people
Okay.
don't believe that that spirit exists. But
Oh
we
yeah.
have an issue that's going on, and this particular spirit controls the vibe of this world, and people don't believe that. And
Oh,
so that's the reason
it's the
why.
devil all day.
Exactly. And the thing is this: why would it be that the Bible would have to say, if you sleep with an animal, you and the animal should be put to death? Why would a human being sleep with an animal? What would make a human being sleep with an animal?
I don't know what would make a human being sleep with an animal, but they do it. I don't know why.
But see, the thing is this though, it's that spirit that,
Yeah.
and see, the spirit, it tells us all of the time, do what you want to do. Do whatever you want to do. If it's between you and two consenting adults, if it's you can do whatever you want to do.
But then when you do it, you feel shame after.
And then after you feel ashamed, you get the repercussions of it. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? The repercussions of it is never something that's going to be easy to deal with. Now you got this to deal with for the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. So, do you think, since we've had this pandemic, do you think it puts a damper on a lot of marriages or a lot of relationships or a lot of just things?
Well, it definitely challenges them. I'm not going to even lie to you. When you put two people in the same place, you know what I'm talking about, in a cramped, confined space, and they can't go nowhere or whatever, you're going to have some issues.
We got a question. We got a question, old school, and see. Okay, from Dana. She says, "What do you do when a man's been hurt by two broken marriages, but he knows you the one?"
Okay, so wait a minute. What is the question again?
It says, "What do you do when a
Hmm.
man's been hurt by
Hmm.
two broken marriages, but he
Hmm.
knows you the one? He knows that you're the one."
So if you love the man, okay, what you should do is you should find out what hurt him in those two marriages, why he had those two marriages break up, why didn't they fail? If he feels like it was his fault, or if he feels like it was the two females'
She
fault.
said he's scared to marry her. If okay,
Because okay, so I understand the question now. So
okay.
basically, he's afraid to talk to you, to marry you because of the failures, and he don't want to fail again. Is that the way that I'm understanding the question?
Yeah, a little bit. That's the way you understand. But I think I kind of got it. Okay. He's scared to marry her, but he's had two broken marriages. Okay, that's the same thing with me. When when I got out of my first marriage and I met my husband now,
Hmm.
he's bringing that. What it sounds like, he's bringing those two broken marriages into the
Mhm.
relationship, something that I did in my relationship. I brought all that over, and that will make a person run away. Cause I know it was plenty of times I know my husband wanted to be like, baby, I'm out of here. This is just
Mhm.
too much. And that will run a person away. But you can't be scared to marry me. You can't not even marry. You can't be scared to be with me, but say you love me. That
Mhm.
ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing about it is this, I would give it some time
Yeah.
because it's a trust issue,
Okay.
and I feel like you know what I'm saying. He don't trust right now because he been hurt.
But how long does it take you to trust somebody?
It's various times. It's not like a
Yeah.
time limit on
Okay.
pain. Some people heal at different rates. So
True.
the thing is that he may have to really get to trust you. So basically, what I would do if I were her, well, that's hard to imagine being a her, but
Yeah.
what I mean is
But if you
that
was in that
right.
situation, yeah.
Well, I would do everything that I can, do the things that build trust, let him know that you're going to be there for him. Let him know that you understand, especially during those hard times, like when he's bearing his feelings and going off or whatever, the way that you handle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to mean a whole lot because then, if you pass that test, because you got to test that regardless, you got to test. And so do he. He have a test too, to
But
prove to
who
you that he can handle it.
but yeah, it depends on I'm like this. After if you've been with a person after 3 years and they're still on, and I know sometimes with me, I have to catch myself sometimes because I'd be like, girl, you can't be thinking the same stuff, you know. But I know me and my husband, we got married, I think 3 years. My husband gonna kill me if I don't know. 3 years. I
Hmm.
think 3 years after we were together, we got married. But if a person, I don't know, somebody being scared to marry you, but you're around me all the time, you should have some kind of foundation knowing that I'm not gonna do you in.
Yeah, well, like I say, that's trust issues again. So basically, you know what I mean? It might take him some time. Remember, he went through two marriages. So that ain't like, he went through one and then that one failed and he still, feel confident that, it was just a fluke.
Yeah, but here's the key thing though. Here's the key thing, old school. If they were okay, two marriages, if you had two broken marriages, was it you or was it them?
Exactly. And so that's exactly what I'm getting at too. Is just that basically maybe he does have trust issues, you know. Um, but the
But
thing is
with
is that
who? But trust issues with who? Because can you? Is it that you don't trust me or you don't trust yourself?
well, actually, it depends on that particular individual because he might not trust himself. He
She
might not
said it
trust.
was. She said 12 years ago.
Hmm.
Oh, come on now. 12 years.
What happened?
She said it was 12. You said 12 years ago. Was it the difference? Okay, the difference is 12 years ago.
What do you mean 12
So
years ago?
okay, what do you mean? He was. It was. They each were 12 years ago. Oh, they both cheated.
Well, that's what I said. It's a trust issue. Whenever
So
you cheat, then whenever there's cheating involved or whatever, it's going to be a trust issue because it's like, what made you do it? How can I trust you? I mean, that was a broken trust.
yeah, but was it the cheating on his part or on their part? See, and
That's a
that's the
good
key
question.
thing because see, that's the key thing. So if you're scared and you were the cheater, what the hell?
Well, that means you can't trust yourself.
There you go. So you can't trust yourself. Then my thing is this: if you can't trust yourself when you do something like that, don't get into a relationship until you really secure in yourself, because
Hmm.
that's not going to help.
One thing that I'm gonna be honest with you though is just like that scenario that I was saying
She's
when I
like,
met.
can I call in? I can add you
Yeah,
in.
she can call in.
Hold on, let me tell her. I can send you a link, Dana, and you hit the link and it'll bring you into the show if you want to be a part of the show. So just give me a yes or no if you want to be a part of the show, and I can send you a link and it'll bring you in a part of the show. Type if you want me to send it to your messenger or if you wanted to send it in to me in an email. So send me. You want me to send it to you in Messenger or in an email? Let me make it. I can go a private chat and tell you. Hold on. Let's see.
But yeah, while you're doing that,
Hmm.
I guess what I'll do is just kind of get on a
Okay. She
trust
said
issue.
yes. Messenger. Okay. Go ahead, old school, and talk about it. I'm gonna send her an invite.
That's fine. So all
Okay.
I'm saying is that whenever you have relationships and you have trust issues, you're gonna have
Right.
problems
Right.
because of the simple fact that you're gonna get on the other person's nerves with your insecurities. Trust issues is
Exactly.
gonna create insecurities. And when
Exactly.
you're insecure, that word in itself means that you're not secure.
Right.
And
Right.
that'll get on people's nerves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, uh, and so basically they have to try to work on the trust. And the best way to work on trust is basically to uh, is time for one thing, and showing a person that you are trustworthy. In other words, it's you have to kind of prove yourself again.
Right. True. That's true. That's true. That's
All
true.
right, Shay,
Okay.
I'm about to take my video off. I'm about to put my camera on. Give me 1 second. I'm about to put this phone on the
Sure.
charger. Let me call right back.
Okay.
All
So
right.
so Dana, I sent you a link. So what you do is you hit that link and it's gonna let you into the show. I am so glad to have a a, a, a viewer that wants to chime into the show to really get in there.
That sounds good. Have you had that before?
I've never had that before, so it's good. I also have my mom in the live, and my mom said I need to do this every Saturday with you guys. Have you guys in here every Saturday? Because we
Is
need
that right?
that. Yeah, we need that. We need that.
Well, thank
Because
you. I'm so glad.
when we do girl chat, it's just three ladies, and it's good to have um, it's good to have people in there, good to have a guy side than just a female side because last show we had people felt some type of way because it was just females giving their opinion, and it was like, okay, you
Yeah.
know but
Mhm.
it's good to have that opinion, and especially on a topic like this, because all of us in here, you're married, old school, I'm married. I think C has a girlfriend, so it's like we all are in something, and that's good when you could really interact with your member. I'm actually trying to see if she was able to get that link. I'm gonna actually try to make my screen smaller and send it to her again. Guys, this is the longest I've had the girl chat on, and it's good because it's helping people. You never know who comes on this chat.
Mm. Well,
And
I love the fact that you said that it's helping people because I mean that's what it's all about. That's what we're
right,
supposed to do.
right.
To be honest with you, and I know that I'm kind of preachy, and that's just me.
No.
It's my
And that's how it's
personality.
supposed that's just how it's supposed to be. People have to get that's why I said people shouldn't feel upset with what we're saying. It's our opinions. It's our opinions.
Well, see, I go by what Jesus said, and what he said was
Hmm.
that we should love our neighbors as we love ourselves.
Right.
Now, that's pretty deep,
Right.
and it filters down or trickles down into our relationships that we have with each other.
Right.
Like, the concept of cheating. Just think
Exactly.
about that. Would you want somebody to cheat on you? Can you imagine how it would feel if your mate cheated on you?
I've had
So
that. I've had
and
that.
so
So,
have I. And so what I'm saying is that whenever, you feel the inclination of somebody else other than your significant other, your wife, your husband,
right, right,
you
right,
got to think about how they would feel. And
right,
then that love that you have for them should be able to deter you
right,
from doing something that you wouldn't want to do to yourself.
right.
we have to treat others as we would have them treat us,
Exactly.
especially our mates. And
Right.
so, and that's where it comes back down to the brainwashing again. Anything you want to
Exactly.
do is okay. And they constantly preaching that and preaching that and preaching that to you. So
Right.
then, bam, eventually you believe that, well, this is what I want to do.
Right.
And then your actions cause the pain of other people.
Right.
The biggest thing that I had to learn in life is that it wasn't no, I'm doing this. No, when I do this, it's going to affect everybody that love me. Say, here's a for instance. Let's say that I want to skydive.
Right. Hit that link, Dana. I just sent you a link. Sorry to cut you off, old school. Hit that link, Dana.
Okay. Am I still there?
Sorry, guys. It kicked me out the link. I'm back. I'm sorry. What I
Okay.
what I was saying to you, Dana, was hit the link I sent you in the messenger, and that link will pull you up onto the show. I gotta make sure I'm hitting the wrong thing. I'm sorry, y'all. I got out the link real quick. I apologize. When you listen to it on on Zeno, you may hear me say a few curse words when the live wasn't on. But hit that link I sent you, Dana, in your messenger, and it should allow you to pop up on here. But yeah, as far as like what you were saying, old school, about the cheating part, yeah, but 12, if it's been 12 years ago,
Yeah, but I
really,
mean, still at the same time, those wounds can be deep. And then some of the behaviors that was going on during the cheating might not have
right,
changed. So the
right,
trust never was healed.
right,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It has to be healed. I mean, it's not about how much time passed. It's about whether or not, you know what I'm saying, the behavior
yeah,
was something that made a person feel more comfortable and feel like, yeah, well, I know that, this person
right,
was really sorry about what they did and would never ever do this to me again. And that's
yeah.
that's 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 basically it in a nutshell.
But how many sorries can you take?
Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's the whole point that I'm saying. It's about the showing a person. It's like you have
Hmm.
to earn that trust back.
Yeah,
If you got a dog and your dog bites you, right?
right.
What is it gonna take for you to trust that dog again?
Well, what it's gonna take for that dog to get up off that ground? Because I'm sure gonna fight that dog.
Well, that's it. But that's the whole point that I'm trying to make is that
Right.
it's real hard. And if you imagine that or your dog bit you, it's gonna be a long time for you trust that dog again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you might not never trust that dog again.
Yeah. But that all stems back to the last show I had with the ladies, was that we were talking about relationships, and my thing is, when you get into uh when you get into a relationship with somebody, you have to come in saying, this is what I will accept, this is what I won't accept. You know what I'm saying? You have to go into there with that. You cannot go into a relationship thinking you can mistreat the person like you did the last person, or how that person did you. That's not gonna work.
Right. Well, one thing about it is that I think that
Here she
we.
is. We have Dana in here. Hi,
Hello, how you
Dana.
doing, Jana?
Hey,
Hi.
hello. How are you?
I'm
Doing
good,
fantastic. How
guys.
about yourself?
I'm so proud of you, and I'm learning so much. And old school, I love what you were saying because I am learning a lot.
Oh, thank you so much.
So you
May
guys,
God be praised.
I'm gonna give you a little bit about Dana, old school. Me and Dana go way back 10 years plus.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We go 10 years plus. So this is like,
I just thought she was like a random.
no, Dana is a sister. When I tell
Oh,
you,
that's wonderful.
when I met her, if it's okay if I tell them a little bit of the story, Dana, is that
Yeah,
okay?
you can tell the story. You can
Okay.
tell the story.
So when I met Dana years ago, my mom was friends with a lady that passed away, and Dana was dating her son. And I met Dana, and she was so sad, real sad. And
I was broken.
she was, I mean, literally broken. I mean, she couldn't be any broker. And I told her, I said, you know what? I'm gonna do your hair. You're gonna feel like this. We gonna make it work. You know, you ain't gotta go through this from nobody. And I always told her, and she learned it from me too. People only do to you what you allow them to do. And I helped her
Exactly.
build her confidence up, and she progressed a lot. I mean, a lot. We went through it. Like, we cried together.
Yeah, I can
We
understand.
hugged. She helped me even with my situation. So
I was the one that I lost my mom when I was
yes,
Oh,
11,
I'm so
so I
sorry to hear
did
that.
not have that
no,
mother figure in my life.
Mhm.
right,
And my dad wasn't no better
yeah,
Right.
because he was, he wasn't the best father. So
Mhm.
I was grasping for every
Mhm.
female
yeah.
role model that I had.
Right.
And
Mhm.
Shanae was one of the first ones that grabbed me and hugged me and
Mhm.
said, "You are loved."
That
Yeah,
is so good. That's
yeah.
wonderful.
That's
That
that's
is
my
wonderful.
that's that right there. That's my ace. She's my ace.
And and and
And
and, and
go ahead.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh, can you hear us, Dana?
yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And
And
then so, but
uh,
you know what's, but now, but I'm not a victim. I don't now that I'm not a victim. I
Mhm.
used
right.
to feel like I was a victim, but I'm not a victim anymore
That's
I'm
because I
very
so
can
good.
help
proud of you.
so many other people
Mhm.
Yeah,
like you helped me.
yeah.
Right.
And I
Mhm.
just do
Oh,
not see myself as a victim no more.
That is wonderful.
oh,
That is so wonderful.
oh, Dana, I love you.
Yeah.
I love you. You know, I and that's why I say I do this for the love of helping people. I never thought that girl chat would be like this. I never thought that the tower would be like this. To where I'm reaching out. I see my mom on there saying you're helping people, and that's something I never seen myself do. When I started this in old school and all them, they could tell you when I started this, I didn't even think old school. First, when he first talked to me, first thing he said is, "I believe in this," and that made me feel
Mhm.
so good because
Right.
I do this. This not for me. I do it for everybody. Like I said, we got a total staff of 9 people, which includes me and my husband. So it's
Mhm.
like I love doing this, and that's why I tell people y'all got to catch old school when we start doing the Sundays because he gonna give you some good Bible lessons. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
was that's why I said go ahead. I wanted to hear that Luke 11:11 or something. I wanted to hear that. I wanted to hear it.
Well,
yeah,
that's funny that you say that because that particular scripture puts you right in where we are today. I mean, like
hmm,
verbatim. And when you read it, you feel the reality of where you are. You know,
right,
it's like
right,
wow.
yeah,
And for people to walk away from or to ignore the things that are in that book, and then when you check out the track record of that particular uh, book, did you know that it is 100% accurate on Bible prophecies? I
right,
didn't say 99.9. I said 100% accurate.
right, right.
And so when something is accurate
Uh-huh.
all the way up until this point, and then it's telling you what's going to happen next, you better start looking around at what's going to happen next.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that's just basically where I am with it. It's fascinating to be only like 58 years old and be able to see prophecies fulfilled, as we go on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. But
Yeah.
Shanae, you got a blessing on you because you don't know how you helping people. Because I'm one of the persons that you helped, and you saw that in me,
It's
and you
wonderful.
Yeah.
saw that my three kids needed
Yeah.
help, and we had crawfish bowls
Hey,
and
you guys,
barbecues, and
I'm doing a
we
radio show.
Yes.
you had all that, Dana, come into my world
Right.
type of situation.
Baby,
So I could take
baby,
you out of your world for a minute. And
Yes.
baby.
you did that for me.
Yes.
And
So
I've never, and I appreciate that. I
right.
really do.
Right.
You did a wonderful thing. My kids still know your kids. They have memories. Now we went our separate ways, but the memories that were formed during
Mm-hmm.
that time
Right.
was meaningful.
Right.
They
Right.
needed that at that time. And the
Yeah. Oh,
memories that I have of you helping me up is meaningful for me. So I am so grateful. And I love what you're
oh,
doing. I
thank
love what
you.
you're doing.
I
So
Well,
I had
yeah.
no
tell others about it.
Yeah, please. And you know what? And this is the first time I've ever said this, and this is the first time Dana ever heard me say this, is when you were hurting, I was hurting too at the same time. And I had to, something my grandmother always told me, God put me here to help people. And it was just something in you, because I think about you every day. It's not a day that doesn't go by I don't think about you. And I think about the kids and the little chocolate chip. But I'm glad you're saying that, because at first, I was telling old school, when I first started the show, I had my other two female guests. Dana, I may be pulling you in here a little more every now and then. um, so I had them, and a couple of people didn't like certain things that I was saying, and I feel like this, like I say all the time when I get on this show and when I do my show, even when I do the Tower Radio show, I always say to people, these are my opinions. These are not my facts against anybody. I'm not shumming anybody. I'm not talking about anybody. These are my opinions. And you know what? I feel like this. I feel like certain things. I watched the Wendy Williams show. Certain things she was saying, it was true. People are gonna judge you no matter if you're doing good, if you're doing bad, if you helping them, if you succeeding. It just doesn't make any sense. But old school, we got a lot of people on here saying, read that scripture.
Hold on then. Let's see.
yeah, that's why I say go ahead and read the scripture. Go
Read that.
ahead.
And
Okay.
nobody can say anything because he's on here with the boss of Tower Radio Show and Girl Chat. So he's fine.
Let's see. T.
So, like, while he's finding that, everybody, like I said, Saturdays, well, not Saturdays, but Sundays soon. We will soon, once old school confirms, it will be the Sunday's message where you guys can really listen to him, give the word.
Well,
And
I just found out your message when you invite. Just keep me updated, because I was like, oh my God, look at Shanae. Keep me updated, girl.
I will. I do. So for anybody that's on the live and watching, I do post on my Facebook page, on the Tower Radio Show Facebook page. I do post on Instagram. It's just, the girl chat is just something that we do on Saturdays, and we bring people in. I'm gonna also have another DJ that has the show called Underground Legend Podcast, and they do music and they do interviews. We're gonna start doing interviews too. The Tower Radio Show takes music from any artist. Your music is heard on that platform all over the world.
Mhm.
So it's not, so this show will be heard all over the world. So it's like people are getting to know us. But go ahead, old school. You got it? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, it says this is Luke 21:11, and it says there will be great earthquakes, and in one place after another, food shortages
Mm.
and pestilences,
Mm.
and there will be fearful sights and from heavens great signs.
See that?
So we've seen earthquakes,
Food
we've
shortages.
seen food
Food
shortages,
shortages. Mm-hmm.
and you know what pestilence means?
Give it to us. Give it to us, old school.
Pestilence means disease.
Of course, we got that COVID.
Now we're in the middle of a worldwide pandemic.
Right.
If that's not pestilence,
Yeah.
Right. Right.
You sure right. We in the middle of that Bible scripture. Luke
and
Yeah.
that is
12.
Luke was actually telling the story of Jesus, because the cold part about this story is that the 12 disciples, well, two of the disciples came to Jesus and they asked him privately about the conclusion of this system of things. And actually, to be honest with you, that's in Matthew
Mm-hmm.
24. Whenever you think about Matthew 24,
Mm-hmm.
where you're thinking about the conclusion of the system of things, or the last days, the days that we're living in, basically, is where Jesus is telling everybody what would be happening during our time.
Right.
Here, do you mind if I take you to Matthew 24 and show you where those disciples asked that question?
Take us there.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Take
So
us
this
there. We
is
need some church.
actually 24, Matthew 24, 3, verse
Okay.
3, right?
Okay.
And look at what happened. It says, while he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples approached him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your presence and the conclusion of the system of things?" Now, see, Jesus' disciples came to him and asked him for that sign. And this whole chapter of Matthew, Jesus don't stop talking. He started telling them everything that is going to happen.
Wow.
And in that prophecy, he spoke of the pestilence.
Wow.
And we sitting here going through it.
Wow. Yes. Yeah, old school. You're going to have to do that Sunday show. Yeah. You're going to have to give it to us. You're going to have to give it to us because we are in the days that we need it. If this ain't a time that you don't know God, you better try to.
Exactly.
Well,
Some people hungry for it, but they just don't know it.
You know,
right.
and they're hungry for it, but here's the thing. They're so hungry for it, but the church is running them away.
Well, that's the sad part about it, is the simple fact that, they go into the very place that they supposed to be learning. But then Jesus, remember, when he looked at those people, he started crying. He felt sorry for them. He said they was like sheep that was being fleeced and thrown about. Because that's
Right.
all they doing is, when you fleece a sheep, you taking all his fur off of him. That's what they
Exactly.
call it. fleecing.
Exactly.
And that's what they do. They pass that tray and they pass that tray and they pass that tray and they just kick them around any kind of way that they want to.
So let me ask you this, since we are on that part, I do have a question about that, but I really got a question about that. What do you think of when I was growing up, tithing and church was given to the church?
hmm Well, actually, tithing is a law that they had for the Israelites, and that was for the Israelite people.
Right.
One thing that we have to realize is that um, for the Israelite people, those laws were for those people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So you can't put everybody under the same stipulations
True.
as you put
True.
that particular, tribe of people.
Right.
My problem is, girl, if I can't tithe, the pastor mad, but when I do tithe, the pastor happy, and he reach out
Mhm.
to you. But if you ain't tied it in a couple of months because you got other obligations and stuff, and but the pastor don't reach out to you as much.
Then that
Well,
means you
That's
need
what
to
I
switch.
got a problem with.
That
So I
means you
feel
need
like
to
I
switch
got the
church.
wrong church.
Yeah, you need to switch churches because that goes back to what I'm saying. I was always taught a pastor is called by God. I've always taught that. Some of these pastors nowadays, they sharper than I don't know what. But the church look like ought to be damn. It's
Right,
toe up,
because
it's
actually,
raggedy.
mhm,
Yeah.
But I like he
mhm.
mad
and that's what you're
because
supposed to be doing.
I didn't tithe this month. He mad. I was
So
like,
can I
oh
ask you a
my God.
question?
Go ahead, old school. He wants to ask you a question. Go ahead.
Yes, go
Right.
ahead.
Can I, can I so when that happens, what does that make you think?
It don't make me think anything. It makes me feel
Okay, maybe I
like
asked the question. That's what I should have asked. How does
Okay.
that make you feel?
Yeah.
like I don't belong to this church. Then
Does it go a little deeper than that?
it, it, it actually it makes me feel like, why am I tithing at all? Because what benefit are you getting out of it? Because you can't wait a couple of months for me to get my tithings together. And it actually makes me wonder where the hell my tithes are going to in the first place.
And then why you mad at me about my money?
Well, yes, and you know what's funny about that whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
What was your name again? I'm so sorry.
Dana.
Dana,
Dana. Dana. Listen, do you know that Jesus talked about um it's he called them false prophets, okay? This is actually in Matthew chapter 7, okay? Verse 13 through 23 actually. And do you know what he said?
Give us that word. Give us that word, old school.
He said, beware. He warned us.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you go to a work site and it's something real dangerous, they don't want you to go in that area. They have a red tape there and they have a sign that says what? Beware.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Beware.
caution, caution.
Caution. Now, sometimes caution, now that's the yellow tape. And with the yellow tape, what the caution is, well, it's a little danger there or whatever, you know what I mean? But be cautious. But when you see danger or beware,
Mm-hmm.
that red sign, don't go there. Don't go there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the type of terminology that Jesus used. Beware of false prophets, you know. And actually, he said that we would know them by the fruit that they bear.
I'm trying to tell you.
See, he said, Jesus, the way he put it, here, I'm going to read that scripture for you. And I'm not going to try to do a whole bunch of scriptures, you guys. I promise it's going to be the last one that I do.
You fine. You it's fine.
You are
Chanel,
fine.
I love you and
I
your
love you too,
segment. I
hon.
love this.
Thank you, thank you. And before you go, before we get off, when we get off live, I'm gonna message you so we can video chat a little bit.
Okay, thank you, girl.
Let's
I
see
know.
what we got here,
I
Matthew.
feel you need me.
Now let's take a look. Here it is.
Okay.
This is Matthew chapter 7, right? Verse 13, right?
Okay.
Now, if you'll notice, this is Jesus talking. And look at what he says. He says, go in through the narrow gate, because broad and spacious is the road leading off into destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you just think about that. Broad and spacious is the road leading off into destruction. I don't know about you, but I don't want to go down that road. Okay.
I'm trying to tell you.
But it said that many are going through it, whereas narrow is the gate and cramped the road leading off into life,
Right.
and few are finding it. And he immediately says, and this is verse 15, be on the watch for false prophets who come to you in sheep's covering, but inside they are ravenous wolves. By their fruits you will recognize them. He said, never do people gather grapes from thorns or figs from thistles, do they? Likewise, every good tree produces fine fruit, but every rotten tree produces worthless fruit. A good tree cannot bear worthless fruit, nor can a rotten tree produce fine fruit. And every tree not producing fine fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Now, this is how he let us know that he's talking about men. He says, really then, by their fruits, you will recognize those men. That is Matthew 7, verse 20. Okay.
So we already know what type of pastor he is.
So what we want to do is we want to try to get on the road to life. All of these prophecies are coming true.
Right.
They're all Jesus' word. That's what he said would happen. We're looking at it.
Well, I got a question. I know they say 2 or more gather. So do you get away from that church and then just 2 or more gather, make a church? Or, because look, y'all, I'm really confused about this church situation.
Well,
I
here's the
really
thing.
am.
Well, here's the thing. Here's my suggestion to you. Okay.
Real talk.
Just do me a favor. What we'll do is we'll talk, or I'll put you in touch with some information from Mr. Pino, Mr. Pino. Okay. And what I'll do is kind of give you a little bit of direction on that, because I don't want to try to tell people what to do. That's not what my purpose is.
I know it's too in depth to get really into it, but I really want to know.
Well, the thing is that all of those answers to your questions are there. And actually, the thing is that they're all in God's word, and you can be guided through God's word and be able to get all of the answers to your questions, because actually I was there too. And that's the thing. I had questions just was not being answered. And I'm like, come on now, I need my questions answered. And his word answers it.
See, that's why y'all see old school. That's why I got you on here. That's why I guess things don't go that way for me, because I think that'll went a whole nother way with me with that pastor. That's why I say God's still working on me, because that would have went a whole nother way. It would have went a whole nother way. But that right there, that furthermore kind of give the answer to what I was saying about people with church. That's what run people away from church. Every time
exactly right.
You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What did you say, C?
I was wondering what happened. I just caught the tail end of it. What happened?
Oh, well, we brought in a guest, Dana, and she was talking about tithing with the church. So that's what we were speaking about. We were just talking about the pastor got upset with her because she didn't have money to tithe. But when she has money to tithe, he's okay and he's friendly with her. Then that's a sheep and wolf cloth. What you said it was, old school?
Well, I didn't say it. That's what the Bible said.
Well, the Bible said. He's making a statement what the Bible said, because that's what it sounds like. My bad, old school. You didn't say that, y'all. Let me fix that for they be saying.
It's not me saying
that. Yeah,
the Bible said that those were sheep and wolves in sheep clothing.
Yeah, that's the pimps we were talking about earlier.
Well, yeah. One thing that you have to realize is this, okay? Is that Jesus was not playing with us when he was talking to us.
Right.
He gave us a warning because he used the word beware.
Exactly.
Okay? And the thing is that, he let us know that it involves our very lives.
Correct.
Okay. And so he didn't just tell us to beware, but he also told us how to recognize those men. Okay.
Right.
And when you look at the fruit, what did you see? Okay, so wait a minute. Here's a person, and what he does is he is happy with me when I'm giving money, but he ain't got nothing to do with me when I ain't got no money. What does the fruit say? What kind of fruit is that? What is it saying? Is that good fruit or is that bad fruit?
Right.
Okay.
You're right, because I just didn't understand. When I didn't have it, I just didn't have it. But when I had it, I was happy to offer it.
Right. Because you're a sheep-like person. And so being a sheep-like person is the way that Jesus wants you to be.
Right.
So he wants shepherds to be kind to his sheep. Do you remember Jesus, what he said to Peter? He told him, Peter, do you love me? And Peter said, yes, Lord, I love you. And Jesus asked him again, Peter, do you love me? And Peter was like getting irritated, you know. Come on now, Lord, you know I love you. You know I got affection for you.
Right.
And he asked him again, Peter, do you love me? And Peter said, yes. And he said, feed my little sheep. So pastor's supposed to be feeding you,
Right.
not taking from you.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
But
Well,
here's the
Not
thing. But here's the thing we got to think about though. But some pastors, how can they feed you when they really don't even know how to feed the word into themselves?
well, that's the whole thing, though.
and
When
then
it
they
comes,
make you feel some type of way when they don't get what they want.
well, what kind of fruit is that? Is that good fruit or is that bad fruit?
That's some tainted fruit. It's tainted.
And see, the thing is that, you know, they make it seem like, you know what I mean, you saying, oh, it's something wrong with the church. No, it ain't nothing wrong with the church. There's something wrong with that pastor. In other words, what I'm saying is this just like when Job was here, and I know you guys, are y'all familiar with the story about Job?
I ain't
No,
even lost that, man. I ain't familiar. You know,
Well, Job is the
I done got
guy.
away from the Bible a little bit. Help me come back.
I'm familiar with it.
Well,
Help me come
go
back.
ahead, go ahead. Sid, tell us
Give us a little bit.
tell us who Job was.
Job was when the devil asked God to let him test him, right?
Right.
Right, and he took away all his kids and his sheep and all that, right, and his wife.
But he didn't take his kids. What did he do to his kids?
I know. Well, I don't know. I know he did something to where his wife was like, "Why don't you just curse God?"
Right.
I know. Yeah, his wife asked him, "Why don't you just turn your back on him?" I know that happened, but I don't know the exact story. You can kind of lace me back up on it.
Okay. Well, the story is like this. The angels were all coming to their stations and everything like this in heaven, and Satan came in among them. This is in Job 1. And I'm going to paraphrase the scriptures, okay? I'm not going to go to them right now. But the thing is that if you would like to know or whatever, you know, you can hit me on the DL however you want to do it. Hold on one second. Give me just 1 second. I got grandkids all over me right
Sure,
now.
that's fine.
that's fine. That's life.
Hold on 1
Still,
second.
that's life.
Yep,
Hey,
that
you
is
guys,
fine.
y'all gonna have to come get the babies. Hey,
It's good to see you, Shanae, again. I'm so proud of you,
Thank
darling.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love what you're doing.
guys, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm doing this for, you know, even for the music artists too. I'm actually, like I said, I'm gonna be starting
I'm not gonna find my
a show. I'm gonna do a show, an interview show for them to speak on it. You know, hopefully I can get Old School to get his Sunday show started because he gives off a lot of good
Yeah.
knowledge.
I watched the other show with the girl from Chicago. I
Yeah.
watched it. I watched all of that, and I
Thank
was
you.
like, yeah, I did. I watched all of that.
Thank you. Thank you. So I had to bring in my guys DJs this time. I had to give them their shine this time.
Let me ask you a question, Sam, man. Right quick.
Uh-huh.
You think you gotta have?
You mean Old School?
Can you hear me? Oh, I'm sorry. Old School.
Yeah.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Old School. Do you think you gotta have a helicopter to teach the word?
No, that's part of that fruit that we were talking about. That's exactly part of that fruit. You know,
Right.
it's like when you see your congregation starving to death and you driving a plane. Something's wrong with that
Crazy,
picture.
man.
It's
Yeah.
but then you know what? And it's not and then in that part, it's not even the pastor anymore. It's the people who keep going.
Well, yeah, but see, at the same time, no, people have a natural desire to worship God. They want to be a
Yes.
part of it, and they just being misled. In other
Right.
words, people are taking advantage of them, and that's why Jesus said, "Beware of false prophets that come to you in sheep covering, because
Right.
they don't come to you like, I'm a thief, I'm fixing to steal all your money, and this is what I'm gonna do." They don't come at you
Right.
that way.
And that falls back to what Dana was saying with the relationship thing. And I did wanted to touch on that too. I was trying to understand when you said the cheating you said together 12 years. So who was cheating on who?
They were cheating on him.
And this happened 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So how you really feel about it? That's the quick question.
My question is, I love this man because I didn't know all of this at the time, and we have a huge age gap difference,
Okay.
but two wives cheating on him, and he feels like he's scared to marry me, but he says I have all the qualities that that I have all the qualities, but he's scared
So,
because the two failed marriage, and they are older women. I'm a younger woman.
okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Okay, okay. Yeah, well, like I say, I would, in that area, because trust is one of those type of things that has to be earned. And sometimes scars that we have to heal before we can get into another relationship. So he may not be ready. And I know that it's been 12 years and everything like that, but at the end of the day, it's on you whether or not you love him enough to just persevere and try to earn his trust. And
Right.
then eventually, when you get to where you say, "Hey, look, I've given you this much time and this much this, that, and the other, and now it's affected me, and I don't feel like going any further with it," then you know what I'm saying. You can go ahead and make that break if necessary.
So old school, I do have this question. So this I guess it's just my theory of it. Why I think when you get into a relationship with somebody, you should be upfront at the beginning. And then
Right.
you give me that choice if I want to continue it or not. But for you to hold something like that, how long have y'all dated, Dana?
I've been with him now, cause we was at your house,
Yeah.
4 years now. It's
Yeah.
been 4 years.
4 years.
It's been 4 years.
So
Mhm.
4 years. So 4 years,
Cause
and that
we've
4
been at your house, cause when we went to your house to
Mhm.
party that at the birthday party, that
Right.
was 3 years, and
Right.
we had another 3 years, another year to go by,
Mhm.
and I can say I still feel like hold on, I still feel like I live in another woman's house because he hasn't redesigned this other woman's house, and he say I can, but when I get ready to, he stops me.
That's because he hasn't got over her.
Well, one thing that I can say for sure is that I would just always go back to my Bible. And,
Yeah.
I know that you probably going, well, what on earth does the Bible have to do with this?
Yeah.
But see, the Bible has rules and regulations as far as men and women staying together and sleeping together and stuff before they married, actually.
But I feel like I can't rearrange this woman's house because I'm not married to him. But
Right.
he say he give me access to doing certain stuff,
Mhm.
but I know he's scared.
Does he love you?
Yeah, but then he got a 25-year-old son that live here that refused to leave. So, and that's the problem too.
hmm Well, you do realize that you have power as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I don't know.
Well,
That's what I don't know.
that's what you do have. You have power as well. So my thing is it's just like Shay was saying earlier. Um, we actually people do us how we allow them to do us, and so in this particular case, uh, maybe you know what I mean. If you step back, you would be putting pressure on him to, you know what I mean, to do
Right.
something.
Right.
You know, if he
Mhm.
loves you, then if you make him show you that he does to prove it, if he loves you, he's gonna do what he's got to do to keep you.
So do you think, I mean, my opinion, I think it should be brought to the table, one day y'all should sit down and say, look,
Hmm.
this is how I'm feeling.
Hmm.
I need you to know this is how I'm feeling. You're telling me I can do this, I can do that, but when it comes to me doing that, you get reserved. You don't want me to do it.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
so that's and then you just let it be known your reservedness is gonna push me away. You can't love a person and say you can do this and you can do that, and then you reserve them not to do this and do that. That's gonna make a person he's straddling the fence, and you're like, should I go over here? Should I go over here? And you shouldn't be in a relationship like that. It should be equal. Am I gonna be your wife? I don't know. I think for me, I wanted to be married in 3 years, but everybody has their own set goals. Everybody has their own set guidelines. I don't want to keep, and you can tell that to them. I don't want to keep living with you as your girlfriend.
That's it though. But see, that's where I'm going with it because that's biblical.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know,
want to keep living like that.
exactly. See, the thing is you're thinking of doing it the right way. Is he thinking of doing it the right way?
Right.
He's scared because he had two failed marriages,
Yeah,
and
but
Which
he
I
thinking
understand.
that two failed marriages is bad luck, and if he marry me, it's gonna be bad luck too. And I do
and
everything right. I cook, I clean, I fold laundry, y'all. I
okay,
am the
but the
perfect
first
wife.
thing, you gonna stop doing, that's why he ain't married you, because he got the cow already free with the milk.
Yeah, see, the thing is this, like I say, yeah, I mean, that's exactly pretty much it. But at the same time, the thing is that remember when we was talking about earlier about the fact that, every single
But
solitary
hold on,
thing.
let me just say I'm 40, I'm 46, and
Mhm.
he's
Yep.
60. So there
Right,
is an age difference.
right.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, even though with the age difference, it's not even about that. It's an adult thing.
Hmm.
It really is. It's an adult thing. It's a grown up situation. It's okay. You've been married twice. Okay. I've been married once before. But hey, it's the point of that there now you using I've been hurt and I've been cheated on as a crutch. Now you using that as a crutch.
It's a papa,
You know,
baby.
he just using that too much as a crutch. And that
Yeah.
right there will make a person run away. That's why I say it's
See,
got to be to the point to where, and then here's the thing. Are y'all friends married?
that'd have a lot to do with it.
No, not really.
I,
Y'all
I,
don't have
I don't
no,
know if you remember Barbara Will. No, we don't have married friends. No, we don't. No,
okay,
we don't.
okay, okay.
No, we don't. We don't have married friends. They're all single.
remember when we was talking about that brainwashing
Yep.
earlier?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is this, and I'm not trying to overstep my bounds or anything like this right here, but at the same time, I'm sorry, I have to go back to the Bible issues and what the principles of it is saying. And sometimes it's hard to for things to work out when they're not in the way that it was supposed to be. In other words, maybe if you step back, just think about it, meditate on it, read what God's words say about relationships and marriage and relationships between men and women, and from His perspective, how it should be. And then take a look at your relationship and see how much of that falls in line with that.
Yep. That's true.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you know me being Shay. She knows me as Shay, y'all. You know me
Yeah,
being Shay.
yeah,
Don't be
yeah,
no
Shay,
fool, baby. Don't be
Shay.
no fool, baby. Don't be no fool. Cause I'm gonna tell you, it's just so much. Cause this is my thing. I look at it like this, and Dana, you're not an old woman. You still young. Why am I gonna keep spending my young years?
Mhm.
And excuse my French, I put it for your old ass to realize you want to be with me or not. That's too much. That's a strain on me. Why I gotta keep
But then
wondering?
at the same time, I don't have. He said, I don't have to worry about nothing, baby. You don't have to
Right.
worry about nothing. I got
But
So
you.
basically, you're
I
but
got
here's
you.
financially dependent
So
on him.
don't sit down. You don't have to worry about nothing.
okay, so you don't have to worry about that. But even if it's not financially or whatever, you are worrying about something emotionally because this is bothering you.
That'll
You've
end
Yeah,
been
your
with,
life.
it
That can make you,
is.
you've been with me,
stress
you know what
kills.
I'm saying? Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead, old school. What you say?
Well, I'm saying that stress kills.
Yeah.
Those types of things can cause health issues and stuff like that prematurity because you're unhappy and you're dwelling on those different types of things because of those circumstances in your life. And you are the person who can change those circumstances. And
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that if you're not happy, take some time, go talk to God about it, pray
Yeah.
about it. Okay. And then when you pray about it, read his word. Read what he says on marriage. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna make sure, Shay, that you get some information
Okay.
so that you can basically direct her to those particular scriptures, because really, to
Hmm.
be honest with you, the answers to everything is in those scriptures, even this.
Okay.
Even this. And you will find the answer. And I'm not lying to you. Just because it's the answer don't mean that it's going to be something that's sweet and something that, you're going to probably have to go through some things in order to be obedient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
But
but you have to just be prepared to go through whatever it is that you need to go through to.
I've already look. I've already been prepared to go through some stuff because when I met Shanae,
hmm
she taught me some stuff because I was very naive,
Right.
and I was very naive, and she showed me a whole lot to get me through where I'm at today. So I'm very grateful for her, and because I didn't know. They're just women
Yeah.
out there that just don't know.
Right. I
And
understand.
that's
I was
true.
one of those women that didn't know until I ran across a person that taught me some stuff.
Mm,
And
right.
you know I love you for that, Dana. I just don't want you to feel like, and that's anybody. I don't care who listening to this live. This is anybody. You should not have to settle for being less than what you are.
That's
You know,
correct.
it's just, I guess I'm just different. You know me, how I say it. It's just that I still get the fact, yeah, 12 years, you may have, yeah, they cheated on you 12 years, whoop de whoop, whatever, what it may have be. But if you have me in your presence and you're treating me and doing wifely things with me, then how come I cannot be your wife legally?
Bam. And that's
Yeah,
actually what it boils down to. And the thing
because
is,
I love them. I love them. I don't want to go nowhere because
And
I
that's,
do love
but
them.
here's the thing, don't let him know that.
Eh, oh, that's the secret.
That's the
well,
secret. You don't keep letting somebody know. Sometimes you have to leave that. Don't I guess don't give him so much to where you give him your all and you don't have nothing for you.
Right,
Because you can't be, it's not good for you to be in a relationship for
right.
4 years and you still trying to wonder if you love me the same way I love you. That's not gonna work.
right. Well, see, one thing about it is just like I was saying, you can't paint a car with a shovel. You
Yeah,
know, we
I heard you
actually,
say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
right. And see, the thing is that sometimes we just are using the wrong tool for what it is that we have to learn what it is that we need, and that's why I keep directing you to God's word.
Right.
So
Right.
he's the designer of men and women, and he has a lot of information on relationships, whether you
Right.
realize it or not. And I've been married actually for 35 years this January 17th.
Oh my God,
I'm
that's
trying to get there. I'm
wonderful.
trying to get there.
Way to go, brother. Way to go,
That
brother.
is
Well,
wonderful.
I'm not saying it
Congratulations.
wasn't no skip in the park, but
Right.
at the same time, you know what I mean? It was done. We were able to do it.
Right. Right. You can't. Uh-oh. She got knocked off. She'll come back in.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah. But my thing is I guess in her situation, you know, me knowing
Excuse
her.
me, you guys.
Yeah.
1 second. Y'all go
Yeah.
ahead.
Me knowing her personally, it's a different effect for me. You know, you can't, and that's any woman that's watching this live or any man watching this live. You can't let people do you like that. That's like somebody got a hold on you, and they don't know what they want to do with themselves. That is crazy. You can't do that. It's not going to be good. All it's going to do is make you be stressed out. It really is. It's going to make you be stressed out. Okay, there she is. She's back. Oh,
Something happened. I don't know what went wrong.
that's okay. But what I was saying was, you know, like, Dana, you know me, I'm gonna speak me. But no, you just set him down and you let it be known. I mean, this you wanna be married. I don't want to keep and what it is however, I'm sorry, I may say this a little raunchy, be raunchy with it. Forgive me, old school, because old school bring that Jesus to us. But you don't want to be no in-house cooch all your life and ain't got no ring on.
No, yeah,
I'm
but
sorry, I'm just keeping it real.
well, like I say, Shanae, I got all my business together. I got all my names on the papers and everything.
Right.
But his first wife is I'm all kinds of bitches. His second wife, bless her heart, may she rest in peace.
Well, hold on.
She
Let me
didn't
stop
have anything.
Let me stop Hold on, Dana. I'm gonna stop you. You said the first wife called you all kind of bees and all out your name. Okay, the reason why that happened like that is because he got to be flapping his chaps with her. Because this is my thing. If he'd been divorced from her, you should not be the topic of their conversation. Period.
No, that's not true, Shanae. I met her at his mama's funeral, and we were good. We were actually good at his mama's funeral.
Okay, so what
But
happened?
all of a sudden, I became bitches and hoes because I was younger. I was younger. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
And I was younger.
Okay.
And you know, I don't mean no harm to nobody.
And here's the thing, Dana. You don't have to apologize to anybody for that. That's her own opinion. She feel how
I'm
she
having problems with my phone.
Okay.
I can't
I
hear
can hear you
y'all.
pretty good.
Well, we can hear you. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you well.
Check your mute button.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm having problems
Oh,
hearing
you're
you
fine.
guys.
Oh no, you're
I
fine. You're
can't
fine.
hear y'all.
You're fine. Okay, we'll get her to come back in, but that's not cool. You know, if the ex-wife has to, I mean, and that was his preference to pick a younger woman. That don't have nothing to do with her.
Well, one thing about it is, and I know I keep going back to this or
Yeah.
whatever it is, but the thing is that a wife is going to have more power than a girlfriend. And so
True.
the thing that I'm saying is that she need to become the wife, and then bam, all of those other things right there will pretty much work themselves out, you know.
Right.
She's gonna feel more secure. He's gonna have to give respect because she's the wife, you know.
Right.
And even the courts is gonna look at it as being something that is uh, uh, lawful. It's something
Right.
that basically, you know what I'm saying, nothing can be taken to her. She's going to get all of the rights that she would get as a wife.
Right.
And
Right.
so if he doesn't want to give her that, then I think that basically then she needs to find somebody who wants to make her his wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't want to keep. I don't want to keep being the cow giving you no free milk. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that I can understand exactly where she's coming from. I mean, you
Right.
know, he may be providing. It's a lot of different variables that go into a relationship.
Yeah.
Love is one of them, you know, at the
Yeah.
same
And,
time.
and that's a good thing. You love somebody, but I rather be alone than let you keep humiliating me.
Right. But
Can
he
y'all
may not
hear
even
me?
see it that way.
Yeah,
Can
we
y'all
can hear
hear
you.
me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I
That's
don't know. My
okay.
phone went blank for me, and I had to regroup and everything.
That's
Well,
okay.
we're
That's okay.
talking, we're constantly talking about what it is that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that you hear what we're saying. And that, you know, that we're not saying anything behind your back or something that, you know, you might not want to. But the thing is
Yeah.
that what we're saying is that basically he may be looking at it like he's getting the milk free kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just putting it bluntly. But at the same time, you know, you're in control of that. You know, you're in control of that. And the thing is that once you realize that you're in control of that, then you know what I'm saying. You'll have more of a better feeling. The thing
Yeah.
is that you know that you deserve to be his wife, and if he doesn't know that, then you might have to make him see what it's like to
My
not have
kids
you
love
around.
them, and my grandbaby call them Paw Paw and
Right.
everything. It's
Right.
just that it's just that commitment.
And see, that's what I'm saying, though. So you may have to. I mean, are you going to put up with that commitment? Are you going to put up with that circumstance, or are you not going to put up with it? And that's basically what it
I
boils
keep
down to.
Right.
asking for it. I keep asking for
But what
the
I'm saying is
commitment.
okay. How long have you been asking for it?
We've been together for 4 years. I guess I've been asking for the commitment for 2.
That's.
So let me ask you this:
Mm-hmm.
Has asking for it worked?
He keeps saying for the first year, he keeps saying that he was hurt by 2 wives.
Hmm.
And then he keeps saying that I am wife material.
Hmm.
And then he was like, let me, uh, give me some, Dana, let me think. Let
Okay.
me think.
Okay. So then, do you feel like the talking worked?
For the most part, because he's 60 and I'm 47. And when I tell him, because he's kind of old school too, he kind of old school, and we have different,
Outlooks.
yeah, on things. We really do.
Well,
We
which one
really
do you
do.
feel like is more old school? You wanting to be married or not wanting to be married? That
He's
sounds kind of new
60,
school.
but then I'm at the point where I'm kind of biased on it actually, but I know what I want, but I'm actually kind of biased on it, is to be truthful.
Well, my thing is that ultimately, okay, if you're content and that's how you want to live and that's how
Real
you
talk.
then go ahead and do that. But if you're unhappy and it's bringing you anxiety, then you can do something about it. Um, like I say, you know, if he's old school, he probably knows something about God's word. You can always use God's word. I'm going to give you some of those scriptures so that you can take a look at it and just tell him straight up that, you know, you want to be by the book. You want to be honored. You want to be honored as his wife.
Yeah,
And so that's basically what the whole deal is. If
that
he's
that that that
willing to
that's
honor you or
everyone,
not.
that every woman dream. But
Mm-hmm.
then at the end of the day, if you gotta be biased, you just gotta be biased about it. And but I know what I want.
But
But
that's what I'm
if
saying.
that's not what he
You want
wants,
what you
then
deserve. So you want
so
what you deserve, but are you willing to settle for not getting what you deserve, or
Right.
are you willing to fight for what you want? If you're 40 something years old, don't you think that he's going to look at you and say, well, man, if I lose her, am I going to be able to get another 40 something year old woman?
he say that all the time. I don't want to lose you, baby. I don't
So
want to lose
so
you.
if he
So
don't
put him
want
to
to
the
lose
test.
you, then tell him straight up and down. Beyonce said put a ring on it. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing,
Hey,
you
you don't
guys.
want to lose, baby. For real.
But you know what I mean,
Yeah,
though. The thing is
yeah.
that if he don't want to lose you, then he's not gonna lose you. You just have to put your foot down and let him know that basically you're tired of being his girlfriend and you want to be his wife. You deserve to be a wife. You do all of the things that a wife does. And if he's not willing to take that step, then you need to move on because he's wasting your time.
Yeah, you
And
right.
and your youth.
Yeah, he's wasting your
You,
youth because you're not getting no younger.
right. Y'all show right. Thank you.
And
Hey,
your
tell,
youth.
hey, tell him he better put a ring on it, or we gonna take you fishing.
You know, yeah, but it's
But he'll
gotta
put a
be
ring on it.
Yeah, he'll put a ring on it. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll definitely do that.
if
I
you
don't have
start
any
showing
doubts.
yeah, if you start showing them you ain't concerned about what stop doing your wifely stuff. He'll put a ring on it.
Well, see what you do. I would take it even a step
Girl,
further.
tonight, you know, I cook, I clean,
You you
I
know
do
you ain't got to
everything. Hey,
I know. But what I'm saying is you may have to cut that down a little bit.
Yeah, even that, cut that. Maybe even if, because it's something that he want more than cooking. And so what I'm saying, if you cut that out, hey, look, I'm not your wife. You can't be sleeping with me like I'm your wife.
Trying to tell you can't have no fruit cocktails if you ain't ready to.
Now, if you want,
Can have your cake and eat
I'm
it
not
too.
gonna starve you. And this is
okay,
just a truthful
y'all,
thing.
look, we on live, and I just want to be real because we real,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
It ain't even about the sex because he's 60. Come on
Okay.
now, it ain't too much that, and I don't
Oh, hold on. He
really
handling his business like a man now.
concern about all of that. I just do wifely duties, man,
You just want
and
to have that title of I'm doing what a wife's supposed to do. Give me that title.
it's
Right.
not even
That's
about all of that
Right.
because
Right.
cause he come on, he said sometimes a man and I don't want to expose him like that,
Yeah.
but sometimes he can't even do all of
I
that.
got you. We got you. You ain't
well,
gotta
that's
say
not
no
a big
more.
deal. The thing that I'm saying is basically it's like this. Okay. If he says he doesn't want to lose you and he sees that there's a danger of him losing you, then he's going to do what he's got to do to keep you.
Correct. Correct.
I
Put him
hear you.
put him to the
Just
test.
back off for a second
Yeah.
and just take a look at your power.
Yeah.
Everything that you just said is a description of a good woman. So what I'm saying is that if he feels like he's going to lose that good woman, then he's going to do what he's got to do to keep his woman.
Yeah.
You're not happy in a relationship and you're not married.
No.
And the only reason why he's not marrying you is because of the fear of a past relationship. Well, actually, then he shouldn't be in a relationship if he has a fear of
Exactly.
being in a relationship.
Exactly. Exactly. Because he didn't have no fear approaching you and getting into a relationship with you.
And like I say, old school. I am. Met. Shanae met him, and
Mm-hmm.
he a good dude.
Right?
She met him. I took him to her house. We
I
went to
met
her
him.
house,
I
and
met him.
and he a good dude.
But
Well, the thing is
I
like
just
you're saying,
can't
you're just
I
not
can't
happy.
get him to get the commitment.
Well,
but you
yes, you
shouldn't
can.
have you can.
You can get him to make that commitment. That's what we're describing to you, that you can get him to make that commitment. And the thing is that in order to make him get that commitment, you have to quit giving him your commitment. If you're committed and he's not committed, then he's getting all of the benefit out of the relationship and you're not. You have
Correct.
to look at it and tell him straight up and down that well, I'm giving you everything that I need. You might want to come to him, and everything you do it in the spirit of mildness and kindness and love. And you just tell him straight up, hey, listen, do you feel like I'm a good woman? Yes. Do I do everything that you need me to do? Yes. Do you have any complaints? Serious? Do you see areas where I could improve?
Right.
Okay. Hey, listen, I can improve in all of those areas, but now here is one thing that I have to let you know that this is what I need.
In
Y'all
return.
just showed me a whole new playing field. Now look here.
Well,
It's
that's good
about
because
me sometimes.
and
It is.
please
It is
let
about
us
you.
know. Keep us
Yeah.
updated on how it goes.
Yeah, because I mean, it is about you. A relationship is not a one person thing; it's a two-person thing. But everybody has to be on that same page. You
Right.
can't be the only person in a relationship that gives all the love and the commitment and the understanding in this. But then when it comes to your part of it, I can't do that because this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. That's not gonna work like that. That
Right.
means you just steady giving, 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 but he's steady taking, 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 taking. Who wants that? I don't
And
want to be in a
again,
relationship where I give you all of me, but yet I get that much of you. That ain't gonna
right.
work.
Well, if you get anything other than all of him, then you're not being treated fairly.
Right.
You're actually giving all of yourself, then he should be giving all of
No, but
himself.
I
So,
can say I'm not gonna sell him short. He
Right.
do give me everything that I do want. Whatever I want, I get it.
right.
Everything but that one thing.
But
And
that's what
that's
I'm
for you to
saying.
have
So
his last name.
that's it. And so that's the thing, that you really want is the fact that you want to be a wife. You want to have that respect as being the
You
missus
deserve it. You deserve it.
deserve it. You're doing everything
Yeah.
that you're supposed to
You
do.
deserve it. If I look at it like this, and it's on either a man or a woman side, even if it was a man in the same predicament with your story, if a man's doing everything that he's supposed to do as a man, and you as a woman, you still saying, "Well, I can't because somebody hurt me 12 years ago, and I'm still feeling that," then that person gonna start looking at you like, "What the hell?" You know. But and that's the same for you. And well, you know how I feel about you, Dana. So I don't. I've seen you,
Yeah.
and I've seen you give and give and give and give. It's about time for somebody to give to you.
Right.
So, and that's where it stems with anybody. You can't just be in a relationship, because that's what this is. This is a relationship of you and him. That's just like somebody say, okay, girl, yeah, let's go do this. Okay, boy, let's go do this. And then they be like, well, I'm married. And the person be like, well, is you married or is your wife married? Or is you married or is your husband married? That's the same thing. So it's like, you want to get tired of being when y'all go somewhere, this my girlfriend. No, because I don't do girlfriend stuff.
Right. You want to be a wife. You don't want to be a.
Yes, and,
You want the
and it's
respect
so
for
embarrassing going around family and they
exactly,
in a
and that's what you
this
need to
is
tell him.
my brother's girl, and that's how they feel.
That
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 they
is
don't.
that is
That's
embarrassing.
exactly how it
Like you said,
is.
that's embarrassing. So you need
It's
to let
Yeah.
him know that.
embarrassing.
Hey, listen, I do everything for you,
Uh-huh.
just like a wife. Uh, I cook, I clean, and all of this. If there's any areas that I'm not, handling my business, I will do that. But here's what I need you to do for me. You know, and explain to him how you feel about it. This is embarrassing when people come up to us and this and that or whatever, and I have to be introduced as anything other than your wife. It's a feeling of humiliation. It's a feeling
Exactly.
of I mean, am I good enough or not? You know? And that's basically what it is, because if and what I'm saying to you is this: even if you say no, you're not good enough or whatever, you know that you're good enough.
Yeah.
But at least you know where you stand, you know? The thing
Yeah.
is that what you want is you want to be a part of his life as his wife. You don't want to just be like some mistress or something, or like some girlfriend or something less than a wife. You want
Or
to be a
what the
wife.
Bible say, you don't want to be no shackle.
That's it.
Exactly.
Right.
Don't
But
be no
you
shackle.
know, guys, I truly enjoyed it, and I will definitely enjoy the conversation. But Nene, Nunu was involved in a wreck, and she's calling me,
Okay,
and
go. Okay,
I need
go
to
ahead.
call on. I need to find out what's going on with her. But
Okay,
old school, I definitely will take your input, and I will. Call me, Nene.
I will. I will. And you check on the babies and send everybody my love. And thank you for joining the show with us.
So much for
Okay.
coming by.
Love
Stop by.
you.
Love you too.
We really
Bye bye.
appreciate it. All right. Bye bye. Well, that's
Wow.
good. I really do hope that everything does turn out well for
I do
her. I
too.
think that it will turn out well for her. She just needed to know, I think, that she is valuable, and
And that's
that
yeah.
that he needs to value her for who she is, and for as a wife, and not
And I
take
think
her for
we
granted.
need to. I think we need to do this show like this again, where we will have that certain segment with people who are in relationships like this. If anybody else is watching the live, we need y'all to come in with stuff like this. It's no judgment in here. We're just giving our opinions on certain things, just like old school is giving it to you in God's way, which it should be, period. So we would enjoy you to, love for anybody to come back in. But we're gonna actually get ready and close our show out because we've been on here with you guys going on 3 hours.
Right. It's time to play some music now.
Yeah, it's time to do that. But we're gonna cut out. You will hear this show on the Tower Radio Show platform. You can check us out at Zeno.fm./ the Tower Radio Show, and you can hear this whole show. I want to thank you all for joining us on the girl chat. I want to send a shout out to Old School and C for being on here with me, and also to Dana for sharing her story. Also the viewers that watched, and tune in next Saturday. We don't know what our topics may be. It may be some good topics. Of course, we're gonna have Old School giving us some of that word. We need it during this time right now. As always, stay safe, wear your mask, stay your 6 feet,
That's
stay
it.
healthy, and God bless.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.